fast in the new year as they had anticipated. Dave Packer, ABC News.
Markets reacting negatively to those numbers this morning, by the way. The Dow now down 200. That's 0.5%. The S&P losing about 0.6 or 28 points. The NASDAQ also down 0.6, represented by a loss of 94. Coming up, the snow will continue throughout the rest of the day today. Let's check the forecast when we come back. KSL News Time, 9:02. It's a priority for us at this station to bring you all sides of a story and to talk about the news fairly, completely.
Get all the facts and be really aware. Utah's Morning News with us, Tim and Amanda.
Weekday mornings 5 to 9 on KSL News Radio.
When's the best time to plant a tree? It was 20 years ago. When's the second best time to plant a tree? It's now. I'm Jeff Jr. with Trajan Wealth, and I remember years ago being sent home from elementary school with a small tree in a styrofoam cup. I know some of you can relate. If that was planted, it's now bigger than you are. Your finances are the same way. The best time to get started, or the best time to get a second opinion, is now. And with time and patience, imagine how big your financial tree could be. 20 years ago, if you invested $1,000 in Apple stock, it could be worth over $500,000 today. That is a big tree. Do that for you and do that for someone you love. Call Trajan Wealth today and help us help you plant that financial tree.
Call 801-899-7600. That's 801-899-7600. Or visit TrajanWealth.com.
Advisory services offered through Trajan Wealth, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor.
Denise has been playing jazz for 40 years. Last concert, one of the musicians fell sick with RSV. Respiratory syncytial virus, or RSV, is a highly contagious virus that can lead to breathing problems. This time, she's choosing to help protect herself with Pfizer's RSV vaccine, Abrysvo. Abrysvo is a vaccine for the prevention of lower respiratory tract disease caused by respiratory syncytial virus, RSV, in adults 60 years of age and older. Abrysvo is not for everyone and may not protect all who receive the vaccine. Don't get Abrysvo if you've had a severe allergic reaction to its ingredients. People with a weakened immune system may have a decreased response to Abrysvo. The most common side effects are tiredness, headache, pain at the injection site, and muscle pain. Ask your pharmacist or doctor about Pfizer's RSV vaccine, Abrysvo, respiratory syncytial virus vaccine. For full prescribing information, please call 1-844-989-7284 or visit abrysvo.com. Brought to you by Pfizer.
For the right repair and the right paint, the right choice is manufacturer-certified Martins Collision Repair. Hi, I'm Tiago Martins, and few have met the rigorous certification by Kia, Dodge, Infiniti, Chrysler, Jeep, Nissan, Hyundai, and many others. But it's one more reason that Martins is your right choice. Check online at martinscollision.com. On State Street in Orem and in Salem, we work with all insurance companies.
The right repair, the right paint, the right choice. Martins Collision Repair.
For the right repair and the right paint, the right choice is manufacturer-certified Martins Collision Repair. Hi, I'm Tiago Martins. Many shops have ASC and ICAR certified technicians, but few have certifications by General Motors, Nissan, Chrysler, Hyundai, Jeep, and many others, making Martins your right choice. Online at martinscollision.com, on State Street in Orem and in Salem, we work with all insurance companies.
The right repair, the right paint, the right choice. Martins Collision Repair.
Join Mike Stevens of Capital Wealth Advisors for Retire Right Radio, Saturdays at 5 a.m. and 9 p.m. That's Retire Right Radio with Mike Stevens, Saturdays at 5 a.m. and 9 p.m.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Sinclair. Save up to 20 cents with DinoPay. Len, any improvement at all out there?
Not really. All the new snow coming down, dumping the lake effect, as Adam was telling us about, has caused some crashes. That southbound I-215 westbound ramp to the eastbound I-80 is closed. Backing on either end of that, you've also got a crash now. That is a fresh crash on 90th South, southbound I-15, 90th South in the right shoulder. Also in Utah County, a crash northbound I-15 in Lehigh. It's got a right lane closed there. So pretty much the whole system is gummed up right now with this fresh snowfall. Use Superior Water and Air for all your HVAC and plumbing needs. Call 974-9090 or visit superiorwaterandair.com. Superior Water and Air, we got this. Len Thomas in the KSL Traffic Center.
That lake effect snow coming down, they're telling us, and this is a little strange, it could actually turn into rain at some point. We'll even see some snow tomorrow. Hard to believe with a high expected of 29 we'd even be mentioning rain, but there you go. Right now in Salt Lake City, 23 degrees. From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, I'm Tim Hughes. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio.
Did Tim say rain? We could see Tim through the glass there. He just wrapped up his newscast. He's throwing his hands up in the air. No, but what is going on? We got squalls. We were squalling. Now we might be raining. I mean, what is going on?
It's like 18 degrees outside. How could it possibly rain?
Oh, my goodness. Thankfully, we've got a full lineup this morning. Because we'll ask Matt Johnson, a KSL meteorologist, about rain in the forecast and also these freezing temperatures, which are causing havoc on the road.
It's 9:07. It's time for the launch.
Sequence engaged.
And here are 3 things Debbie wants you to know.
We're also going to...
Countdown. 3.
All right. Here we go. First Lady Abby Cox and Lieutenant Governor Deidre Henderson expected to endorse the only female candidate in the race for the White House, Nikki Haley. It'll be part of a recent surge for Haley. But former presidential candidate Chris Christie, who just dropped out of the race, boy, did he get caught on a hot mic moment. He has a much different opinion.
She's going to get smoked, and you and I both know it. She's not up to this.
Oh.
Now, she's outperforming everywhere. She's doing far better than anyone expected. She's moved into a solid tie for second place. The problem is, the guy that's in first place has a lead that is so big, so large, she can barely see him. Donald Trump is leading by 30, 40, 50 points in many places across the country, in most places across the country. But let's look at last night's debate. This was a very interesting debate. There was only 2 people on the stage, none of them being Donald Trump, but I think there was a missed opportunity specifically by Nikki Haley.
Countdown. 2.
Well, you certainly heard over the years, public service announcements reminding you if you are a gun owner, lock up your gun.
Did you know if you leave a gun in your car and it's stolen, it could be used to commit crimes in our community?
In our 11 o'clock hour, we'll be joined live, Dave, by a Utah lawmaker who will make his case for prosecuting people with a crime who don't lock up guns in Utah.
I'm a little torn on this. I really, really want people to lock up their guns. I want them to secure the guns. But should they be held responsible if someone takes that gun without their permission, maybe even illegally, and uses it to commit some crime? Should they be held accountable? That feels like a bridge too far.
Launch. Countdown. 1.
I got that KSL News Radio traffic alert to my cell phone when we were in our morning meeting, prepping our show this morning. And I looked up at Dave and I said, weather's our top story today, right? And he's like, oh, yeah, it is. And I said, I just got this alert. 25 crashes due to icy roads. That's like 7:15. The streets are really slippery right now. It's why I chose to jump on the tracks train again this morning at like 5:30. So I didn't have to try to compete with y'all over those patches of slick, icy areas.
There's a lot of things that they can do to keep the roads clean. We see plows out there all the time. There's pre-treatment, which is like a solution to help keep the roads clear. Sand, salt, nothing is working right now. It is so brutally cold that everything they're trying is just failing.
Dave and Dujanovic.
The launch.
Commence.
Dave and Dujanovic. Dave and Dujanovic. Special coverage of the top local story.
Well, we're day 3. Day 3 of our top local story being what we're all enduring. We're all in this together. And the KSL weather forecast shows, Dave, that we won't be getting above freezing until Saturday?
And then it gets really cold. If you think it's cold now, wait till you see the forecast for Monday and Tuesday.
Creating a lot of problems on the roads with ice. So Andy Farnsworth, live right now on our KSL Traffic Center. Give us a list of the main roads you want folks to avoid, Andy.
Well, I mean, I hate to say I-15 since that's what a lot of people take, but that's kind of the one that's been the worst today. But this was a pretty evenly spread problem this morning as the city streets were in just as bad a shape as the freeways. And that was even with the plows working all night. The freezing temperatures meant there was only so much that they could do to make conditions more drivable, or at least more safely drivable. And then when we had ironically, our big crash of the morning was a pickup truck that had a plow blade on the front that crashed on I-15, and then it sat there blocking lanes for all morning. We've never really recovered from that for northbound traffic heading towards downtown. And just when it looked like it might, then the snow started coming down again, which is what we're seeing on the freeway right now. So the worst of it's Salt Lake County between downtown and Draper, really. But there's some busy spots still down in Utah County. Provo's having some issues right now, city streets. And then the canyons, of course, on a day like today, you want to go enjoy Big and Little Cottonwood Canyons to get up to those resorts. But guess what? Big and Little Cottonwood Canyons both have changed four-wheel drive restrictions. So that's what we got right now. And with the snow coming down, even as the traffic volume thins, we'll still see reduced speeds.
Andy, last night I was on Mountain View Corridor, unfortunately for me and the rest of everybody else who was on that road. How is that looking this morning?
Well, it's better than it was yesterday. And that brings up a good point, because you need to think about your routes on days like today and days like last night. Yeah. Like last night I knew, and I didn't even know that Mountain View was closed. I left the station last night at 5 p.m., got home 5 minutes before 7 in West Jordan. So it took me almost 2 hours to get home last night. And I knew I wasn't going to attempt a road that had a really steep incline. I usually avoid Mountain View between 54 and 4100 South on days like today, just because, you get the winds blowing across there. So part of it is paying attention to what your normal route is, and the other is just thinking, look, if you don't leave an hour early, then you just have to accept the fact you're going to get there way beyond it. To me, the drive home is always easier than the drive to work, because usually you're on a clock when you're heading to work. And so you get impatient, you want to get around somebody, you think, oh, I've got to make up 3 minutes here or whatever. And on the way home, it was just like, however long it takes, because I don't have to be anywhere tonight. So that's another factor, is people get antsy when they're on a time schedule, and then that becomes a danger to other people, not just themselves.
If it took Andy Farnsworth 2 hours to get home, there's no hope for the rest of us. You just know you're going to be stuck in it. Andy, thank you for joining us from the KSL Traffic Center.
Thanks so much, Andy. And that is a great tip. Rethink your routes. Mountain View is tricky out west in snowstorms. They've had lots of problems with it this week because of the squalls, just because of the cold temperatures. Straight ahead, Matt Johnson, live in studio with us once again. Meteorologist in the KSL Weather Center, running into studio with the latest in the forecast. We're going to find out how long these freezing temperatures are going to stick around and what the snow looks like over the next couple of days.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Dave and Debbie go out of their way to make sure you hear all sides of a story.
They're working the phones to get several viewpoints on for you.
Hi, it's Tim and Amanda. We get you the full story, too.
We have you covered on KSL News Radio.
Weeks like this are what KSL is all about.
Moderate to heavy snow throughout the day, through the overnight.
The roads up north just getting hammered right now, including I-15.
Thicker, heavier, wetter snow than this powdery light stuff we've been getting.
Harder to shovel come the weekend.
Extra reporters, emergency traffic conditions, school cancellations. Rely on KSL News Radio.
102.7 FM.
1160 AM.
And ask Alexa, play KSL News Radio.
Hi, Doug Wright, and hopefully you're one of the lucky people who got a gift certificate or a gift card for Ruth's Chris Steakhouse. It's time to cash that thing in. My son and I, every year, we have a little contest, who reads the most books, and the stakes are literally steaks. I asked Ian, because he won this year, I said, okay, where do you want to go get your steak? And he goes, come on, Dad, you know where. And of course, it's Ruth's Chris Steakhouse. It is the best steak you are ever going to have, and it's waiting for you at 2 locations, Hotel Park City and downtown Salt Lake City. Think of all the great things that are going on in downtown Salt Lake City right now. Make dinner at Ruth's Chris part of your evening. And then, of course, up in the mountains right now, it's time to go skiing. skiing. And the perfect place for après-ski, enjoying that amazing meal, is right there at Hotel Park City. Ruth's Chris Steakhouse. The best steak you have ever had is waiting for you at Ruth's Chris Steakhouse.
15 years ago, we were adding on to our home, and so I convinced Sean we should update the kitchen.
We did some research, and we decided to go with 3-Day Kitchen and Bath. Their reputation was phenomenal. To design, do the construction, and the finish work, what we wanted was what we got from start to finish. So fast forward 15 years, our family's changed. We've gotten bigger.
There just wasn't the space in the kitchen anymore. People were banging into each other.
We decided 3-Day Kitchen and Bath. Here's the problem. What are our solutions? Comparing working with 3-Day Kitchen and Bath 15 years ago, today, their ability to design what you want was the same.
Everything has been what I want.
The quality of 3-Day Kitchen and Bath, I think, is phenomenal. The countertops and the cabinets that they use are great. They were just good guys doing good work.
For more about your new kitchen or bath, visit 3daykitchen.com.
3-Day Kitchen and Bath.
Imagine it's the last ride, but your symptoms of irritable bowel syndrome with constipation, or IBS-C, are taking you for a ride. What should you do? Keep managing your constipation with belly pain the same old way? Or try getting ahead of your symptoms by talking to your doctor about treating it with Linzess, linaclotide. Linzess is a prescription medicine that treats IBS-C in adults. It's not a laxative. It's a once-daily pill that helps you get ahead of your symptoms. It's proven to help you have more frequent and complete bowel movements and helps relieve overall abdominal symptoms, belly pain, discomfort, and bloating. These symptoms were studied in combination, not individually.
Do not give Linzess to children less than 2. It may harm them. Do not take Linzess if you have a bowel blockage. Get immediate help if you develop unusual or severe stomach pain, especially with bloody or black stools. The most common side effect is diarrhea, sometimes severe. If it's severe, stop taking Linzess and call your doctor right away. Other side effects include gas, stomach area pain, and swelling.
Imagine, what could relief from IBS-C mean for you? Talk to your doctor and say yes to Linzess. Learn more at linzess.com or call 1-800-LINZESS.
Guys, are you struggling with ED and sick of pills, injections, and just not getting the results you want? Well, let me introduce you to GuyCare. GuyCare can effectively treat the root cause of ED using gentle pressure waves with no injections, no pills, and no side effects. In fact, GuyCare is so confident that we can help you. We are giving you the first treatment totally free today only as part of our grand opening special. You heard right, guys. As part of our grand opening, your first treatment is completely free. No gimmicks, no injections, no pills, just results. Normally, this would cost hundreds of dollars, but call us today and it's all totally free. 801-331-9911. That's 801-331-9911. Put a stop to your ED by treating the root cause of the problem and get your love life back. Call GuyCare right now to qualify for this unprecedented offer. 801-331-9911. Because your high-performance health matters.
With the 3 things you need to know this hour, I'm Tim Hughes. First, snow and low temperatures causing slippery conditions on Utah highways. Second, avalanche dangers going up in our mountains. Some mountain roads could close today. Officials advise anyone going out to the backcountry to check the Avalanche Center's website. And third, a new law in Ogden is prohibiting you from parking on the side of a snowy street. That way, snowplows can cover the whole road. Going to look for a high today of only 29 degrees, and right now in Salt Lake City, it is 23. Now back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic. Dave and Dujanovic. Dave and Dujanovic. Special coverage of the top local story.
We've got below freezing temperatures, 2 days of squalls. It's just really making for this perfect storm of icy roads this morning. In a moment, we're going to talk to the Utah Department of Transportation because Dave has been explaining this all week long. It's really scientifically impossible for their magical melting solution to work on roads when it is this doggone cold outside.
I've got a solution. I've been thinking about it. I'm sure they've been thinking about it before. We just need to create a vehicle that is just a ginormous hairdryer. That's all you need is you got to have a ginormous hairdryer to dry the roads because that's the only other option because they're tapped out with all their ideas.
Before we get to the Utah Department of Transportation, so hold the line, John. He's going to be on the line with us in just a moment. Matt, You don't need to even speak to Dave's hairdryer solution there, but speak to the temperatures.
Matt knows about a good hairdryer.
Matt Johnson in from the KSL Weather Center. A lot of people on really, really icy roads right now. What do you know about the temperatures today?
Right. When we have temperatures in the 20s, it makes it harder for that sand and salt and brine solution to work for the roads, right, and to melt that snow and to keep that ice from forming. But it does do something, right? But we are going to see probably a little more residual ice and maybe even black ice out there. But as the sun angle gets higher, that also helps things out and helps to kind of melt things. Even though the cloud cover's out there, the sun angle, some of that solar radiation gets through, and that will help things out this afternoon.
I was going to say, the clouds are so thick right now.
Yeah.
It looks like it's like nighttime.
Yeah.
It is so dark.
So give us the temperature forecast for the next couple of days, Matt, if you don't mind, and then also what type of snowstorms you're looking at in the forecast.
Right. So today we'll top out at only 29. We do have some scattered snow showers coming off the Great Salt Lake. Right now, those are in Tooele and Salt Lake valleys. They'll then start to shift north and east into Davis and Weber counties. So you can expect some snow up there. Everywhere else should stay cloudy skies. Now, moving into tomorrow, it does look like we could see some snow showers, especially in the second half of the day. Not a ton in the way of accumulation for tomorrow, maybe a trace to an inch. But then we start looking at some more snow as we work into Saturday. That one has the potential to produce 4 to 6 inches, maybe even more.
In the valley?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
And it was looking like a rain-snow event. Now it's trending more towards full-blown snow. So that's something we got to watch on Saturday and Saturday night into Sunday, more snow. So this is kind of fun.
It is fun, and I was kind of chuckling because I had heard right as we were starting the show, Tim Hughes had talked about a rain event, and I thought, wait, how in the world could there be any rain right now? But you think it's going to turn all to snow.
Yeah, it was looking like we could get some more mild air in here on Saturday and be more of a rain-snow mix, but models have now trended away from that. 80% of the models saying snow, 20% saying rain in the afternoon. So leaning more towards snow now. So,
any snow totals real quick that you can enlighten us about?
For just the upcoming.
Yeah.
So Friday we were thinking a couple of inches. The main event is on Saturday. Saturday afternoon into Sunday, we could be talking 4 to 6 inches, and that's the average. High end goes for 8-10 inches on that. So the storm you need to watch out for, which thankfully is not on a weekday, is Saturday into Sunday. Could really produce some big snow totals in the valleys now that it's not looking like a rain snow, but full-blown snow.
Matt Johnson, thanks for joining us, KSL meteorologist.
John Gleason with Utah Department of Transportation. Thanks for holding the line to talk to us about these icy roads and what road crews are out doing right now to get them cleared up.
Absolutely, Debbie, and thanks for having me on. And Dave, our engineers have looked into the hairdryer solution. We haven't found one big enough yet. I'll let you know if we make any headway.
I appreciate that. I'd invest. It's just so brutally cold, John. Maybe you can walk us through why it's such a challenge, even with all the mitigation solutions that you have. Why aren't they working as well?
Yeah, and with the colder temperatures down in the teens, the lower the temperatures get, the less effective some of the brine solution and the salt is. It still does a pretty good job, but more than the cold temperatures, it was the timing of yesterday's storm and the intensity. We knew we were going to be facing snow rates of an inch per hour or even more in some cases, and it just hit at exactly the wrong or the right time, depending how you look at it. It was just during the evening commute, and boy, it was stalled out. And unfortunately, once the traffic starts to stall out, and there are a lot of people that are sliding off the road, the snow plows get stuck in that as well, unfortunately.
So what's the perfect temperature for this stuff to work, John? Is it 32 degrees? Anything above?
I don't know if there's a perfect temperature. It's effective in most of these weather conditions. I mean, obviously the light fluffy stuff that we had a couple of days ago, that's ideal. I mean, that's what we all want to see, but But it's more the timing and the intensity of it. Just not having the plows be able to get through traffic. It as the snow starts to build up, that's where you can see some challenges. But they were out there. Our full force was out there, and they did a good job on getting a handle on it. It just took a little while longer during that commute than we would like.
John Gleason with UDOT. Thanks for joining us, John.
What about, instead of your hair dryer solution, which is harebrained, but what about
it is harebrained.
What about heated pavement?
Okay, so this is intriguing because it sounds a little bit crazy, but
can I just finish adding? I think I've seen heated pavement in my community.
Yeah.
So I was driving to the track station this morning again, Dave, and I told you this the other day. I'm like, the entire parking lot that I'm driving through to get to that track stop is all melted off. It looks like it's just kind of maybe a light rain hit it. And the rest of it, like every other road around it, is icy and snow covered.
Driveways have done this.
Yeah.
In residential units. You can see it in commercial parking lots. It's just, it's expensive.
Is it?
It's extremely expensive. And imagine the maintenance it would require if something happened over coils it's great in small, from my understanding. I would love to see if there is a scenario where a community, a city, a state would invest in something like that. I think part of the problem is we don't have that many freezing cold, brutally can't control snowstorms that turn into ice. Perhaps if we were living in Montana or farther up north, then that would be more the case. But this is probably as cold as it's going to be all year, right?
It's so convenient, though, when you drive through, or you have to walk through a parking lot that it does not have any ice on it. It doesn't have any snow on it. It's just melted. I was trying to do, how much would it be for 10 or 15 years worth of snow plowing this parking lot compared to heating it. And I wondered if, I don't know what the expense is, but I wondered if it does pay for itself after, and all the slip and falls.
Yeah.
That a commercial business has to pay out for. And I've only, miraculously, Dave, in this whole week, I've only had one close call. Where I almost went down, and it was right
the slip sliding away.
It was right outside Broadcast House. I'd already done all the walking. It was like 5 steps from the building here, and I was like, whoop, almost. Nope, caught myself. Hey, the only female candidate in the race for the White House, Nikki Haley, set to pick up 2 major endorsements from well-known female Republicans right here in the state of Utah. So we're gonna talk about that next. We'll tell you who those female Republicans are. Also, this former candidate for the White House, Chris Christie, he dropped out yesterday.
Yeah,
that was a big announcement. He dropped out yesterday. Well, he was caught in a very awkward hot mic moment, saying that Nikki Haley doesn't have a chance.
She's going to get smoked, and you and I both know it. She's not up to this.
Ugh.
9:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Tim Hughes with a look at some of our top stories. It is the weather. Scattered snow showers made the commute a little more difficult this morning, but more could be on their way. That, according to the National Weather Service meteorologist, Sam Weber.
I would be focused on kind of the early to mid-afternoon hours into the evening commute, where we could see some of these just light scattered snow showers.
Weber says the valleys could get anywhere from 4 to potentially 10 inches of snow by Saturday. The mountains could get 2 to 3 feet. Snow removal tools are flying off the shelf at hardware stores. Ace Hardware owner John Harris tells KSL-TV he's sold shovels, blowers, ice melt, but there's other equipment you'll want to pick up.
Ice scraper for your windshield. How about windshield wash for your car? Antifreeze, jumper cable.
Harris says it's difficult to predict how much equipment you'll need. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. Former President Donald Trump is back in a New York courtroom this hour to hear the closing arguments for his civil fraud trial. ABC senior investigative correspondent Aaron Katursky reports.
Former President Trump wants to deliver his own closing statement today, but he never agreed to the judge's terms to stick to the facts and to avoid politics. Trump says he's going to be showing up here this morning and still would like to personally do the closing argument, but it's not clear the judge is going to let him.
The former president cannot deliver closing arguments himself, at least as we know it right now. Your money at this moment, the Dow Jones Industrial, matter of fact, all of the indexes are down. The Dow is off 240 points right now. That's 0.6. The S&P is down 0.75%. It's off 36, and the NASDAQ this hour is down 139. Coming up, more snow will come down today. Matter of fact, it's coming down pretty heavy downtown Salt Lake City as we speak. We'll check the forecast next. KSL News Time, 9:32.
Here's a way to get breaking news updates anywhere you go.
At the store or in a work meeting, you can get breaking news on your phone.
You can quickly read it, swipe, or click for more. It's super discreet, super fast.
That's the app for KSL News Radio.
Everybody knows that your credit history can have a huge impact on your life, Amanda, especially when you're just starting out as an adult.
That's why Utah Community Credit Union, UCCU's new Credit Builder Loan is such a great idea. It's a way to build or to rebuild your credit.
All right, so let's talk about how it works. With Credit Builder, UCCU will open an account in your name and then provide that account with a fixed amount of funds along with a small automatic monthly payment. And as your automatic payments are made over time, of course, your credit builds, proving you're a responsible borrower and raising your credit score.
And that credit score is just so important because it determines the interest rates you'll get, higher credit limits, better loan terms because of your credit score.
And by the way, if you have kids in high school, open a Credit Builder loan in their name, and that way they're going to graduate from high school with a good credit score of their own.
It's called the Credit Builder Loan from Utah Community Credit Union, UCCU.
Just call or text UCCU or stop by any branch and start building your credit today.
UCCU, you're going to love where you bank.
It's that time of year. Time for the amazing Utah Auto Expo. Friday, January 12th through Monday the 15th at the Mountain America Exposition Center. This is your chance to see the newest cars, trucks, and electric vehicles all at one location. Check out the latest automotive technology on display. Lots to do for the whole family, and parking is always free. It's the Utah Auto Expo. The 12th through the 15th, Mountain America Exposition Center. Go to AutoExpoUtah.com for discounts. Proudly presented by the New Car Dealers of Utah.
Paid for by government.com.
The 1878 to 1921 Morgan Silver Dollar, a true American classic and one of the most iconic silver dollar coins in history. It's been 100 years since the last Morgan Silver Dollar coin was struck for circulation, and now, for a limited time only, full pound bags of original U.S. government-struck Morgan dollars are being released to the public. That's right, you can own a full pound of 1878 to 1921 classic American Morgan Silver Dollar coins, all in very good collector condition with fully visible dates and mint marks, guaranteed. Call 1-800-473-0864 now to secure collector-grade U.S. Morgan Silver dollars by the pound, struck during the Wild West and the Gilded Age. Plus, receive a bonus American Collector's Pack valued at over $25, free with every order. Call 1-800-473-0864 now to secure your full pound bag of Morgan Silver Dollar coins before they are gone. 1-800-473-0864. That's 1-800-473-0864.
Traffic and weather together is again brought to you by Sinclair. Save up to 20 cents with Dino Pay. Is it still in the traffic center?
Yes, it is, Tim. And in fact, into the day with yet more snow coming down, it is causing big slowdowns and accidents this morning continuingly. One is westbound on the I-215 South Belt in Murray at State Street on the right shoulder, and a couple more on I-15. One is at 90th South, another at 106 South. But all of the system, all the freeways are slow right now. Start your dream or kitchen of your dreams at Bedrock Quartz, where it's only 7 days from template to installation. Visit New Murray or Spanish Fork showrooms or bedrockquartz.com. Bedrockquartz.com. I'm Len Thomas in the KSL Traffic Center.
It is crazy to think about the fact that we had almost no snow in December. Now look at what's happening out there. The lake effect snow really coming down, and it looks like it'll continue to do so. Temperatures today, if we get there, will only be 29 degrees. It's 23 in Salt Lake City, but feel good about that. Park City's only 8. Vernal is 14, and there are some colder spots. Logan, 19 degrees this hour. From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, I'm Tim Hughes. Remember to listen online at KSLNewsRadio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio. America's top political story. Special coverage with Dave and Dujanovic.
Yep, America's top political story happening right here in Utah today. Deseret News reporting that First Lady Abby Cox, as well as Lieutenant Governor Deidre Henderson, this afternoon will endorse the only female candidate in the race for the White House, Nikki Haley, for president. It'll be part of this recent surge that Haley's been having. She's been outperforming just about everywhere. Moved into a solid second place behind former President Donald Trump.
Yeah, kind of tied for second place. The thing is, I'm afraid that the story might be better than reality. The story is great. The underdog, she came from nowhere, has taken down heavy hitter after heavy hitter. She's one of the last two true contenders for Donald Trump, still standing. Now, just look at last night's debate. Nikki Haley, Ron DeSantis. Everybody else has just gone away. But here's where the reality sets in. She's still getting smoked by Donald Trump. There's not one state she's beating him in the polls, and most polls show that she's trailing by 40 to 50 points.
Oh, wow. I know in New Hampshire she's closing in New Hampshire, which is the primary that happens after the Iowa caucus. And the Iowa caucus happens on Monday. So I'm going to be watching that very closely to see how she does do in Iowa. Now, after the debate, I was watching CNN's analysis, and they were talking to several people who watched last night's debate, Dave, and several of them said that they were undecided, and they were undecided between DeSantis and Trump. Haley really wasn't in the conversation. Now, it was about a dozen of the folks that had been there that are going to caucus on Monday who were at the debate watching, or at least watching the debate with CNN. So, I mean, and some of them said, I'm totally undecided. I haven't. But I thought, after last night's debate, though, you're not the only one who feels that way. Did you hear what happened yesterday with Chris Christie? So the guy drops out of the race. I mean, not a moment too soon, right? Because he's so far behind in the polls.
Yeah, he's polling at 3%.
I don't know. I just felt like he was sort of like missed the window to become a candidate for president. Not quite sure that he really.
I don't know if he's ever really had
what it takes to be the next president of the United States. So this is a hot mic moment. So basically, these moments, most people know what they are by now, right? You probably have like a lapel microphone on. On your, and it's a wireless, and you're walking around with it, and you're talking to the crowd, but there's a television camera over to the side. It's still recording you, and so you think you're off air, but you aren't off air, but you don't really remember that you're not off air. So after this interview had concluded, and the cameras were still rolling, here's what Christie had to say about Haley.
She's going to get smoked, and you and I both know it. She's not up to this.
Ouch.
It sounds like he was saying that to whoever was interviewing him.
Yeah, and there's a lot of things that these candidates will say. As soon as the lights are on, the cameras are pointing, they're talking directly into the camera. They know what they're going to say. They've prepared it. But there's a lot of chit-chat in between during commercials, perhaps, where you're a little bit more relaxed. Well, that's that hot mic moment. Now, the reason I think this is so interesting is you'll remember Christie's the guy that had come to Nikki Haley's defense in one of the debates. Vivek Ramaswamy was just going after Haley time and time and time again. And this is what Chris Christie had said about Nikki Haley in the debate.
He has insulted Nikki Haley's basic intelligence. If you want to disagree on issues, that's fine. And Nikki and I disagree on some issues. But I'll tell you this, I've known her for 12 years. What we don't disagree on is this is a smart, accomplished woman. You should stop insulting her.
So it surprises you then that he comes back yesterday, and when he thinks the microphone's off, he says...
She's going to get smoked, and you and I both know it. She's not up to this.
How uncomfortable.
Now, it's one thing to say she's going to get smoked because the polls, everything we're seeing here show that Trump just has this enormous lead. The part that stands out to me even more is that she's not up for this. She's not up to this. She's not up to the moment. That's more insulting to her than she's going to get smoked.
So he said that.
Yeah.
Yeah. You think that? I think they're.
Just play it again. Listen, I think there's two
yeah.
parts to it, I think, that are important.
She's going to get smoked, and you and I both know it. She's not up to this.
She's not up to this. Yeah. Like, oh, poor little lady. She's going
to get smoked, and you and I both know it. She's not up to this.
Yeah, as a woman, that's how I take it. Oh, she's just not up for this challenge.
Well, I think
I disagree.
I don't hear the sexism in it. What I hear is, as soon as she started searching, as soon as the camera started turning toward her and the lights started shining bright, she's had some serious missteps, and that is what happens. It's natural when the attention starts getting focused on you, then all the knives start coming out. And this, remember, is before Donald Trump has said anything about Nikki Haley. Because as soon as Donald Trump turns his ire and wrath against somebody, that's a game changer as well.
I look at her accomplishments. Former governor, UN ambassador, significantly more foreign policy experience than anybody else in the primary rate, maybe except for Donald Trump. And I don't know how much he leaned on his cabinet and folks, who he surrounded himself with for his, foreign policy decisions. But what makes Christie feel like she's not up for this? She has a ton of experience. She's, I think, a lot more polished than he is, and also a lot more experience than he does. So, yeah, I think he's looking at that and saying, "Oh, she's just poor." But she's not. She's, if he wants to talk about getting smoked, she's not the only one getting smoked in the polls. It's just every Trump challenger is getting smoked.
I wish Donald Trump was up here on this stage. He's the one that I'm running against. He's the one that I wish would be here. He needs to be defending his record. Right now, he's not defending the fact that he allowed us to have $8 trillion in debt over 4 years that our kids are never going to forgive us for.
And right now, the polls, on average, according to 538, which is a polling company we look at a lot, have President Trump leading by 50 points or more. Both Haley and DeSantis hovering right about 11 to 12% of the vote.
And I am so shocked that Trump skipping every single debate has not affected him one iota, that he has done nothing but improve his position. It shocks me that was the case. I thought eventually, you could skip one debate, maybe two, but all of them, I can't even remember what number we're at, 4 or 5, multiple town halls, and he hasn't participated in any of these official debates.
Well, I had this sense that Nikki Haley was the heir apparent to the White House. Like, she was going to be the one to get Trump out of the way. And now all of a sudden I feel like there's this, oh, no, she doesn't have what it takes, that there's no way, she's just gonna get smoked.
She's gonna get smoked, and you and I both know it. She's not up to this.
Why? Why is she gonna get smoked? Do you think she's gonna get smoked? Let's ask our listeners. 801-575-TALK, 801-575-TALK. Is President Trump just that important to the Republican Party that Nikki Haley, the one that actually has a shot at the White House against Joe Biden, according to all the polls, if they were in a head-to-head on a ballot, she would beat Joe Biden, but yet you think she's going to get smoked? 801-575-TALK, taking your live phone calls next.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Current events can have a lot of moving parts. Our job is to make it easy to keep up.
You're part of a bigger world, so spend 15 or 20 minutes here and be part of it.
Join us weekday mornings between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
I remember when I was a kid, and my job when Mom went shopping was to come in, pull in the groceries, but I specifically had the honor of carrying the bags of rock. rock salt into the soft water system and dumping them into the bin. That's what I had to do. I think there were 40 or 50 pounds, and it was every couple of weeks. Like, we just went through so much salt. One of the things I learned with Connecticut when we had them install our water softener is their system is so efficient that it uses 2/3 less salt than everybody else. And I love that because, now I don't have to load 50-pound rock salt bags on my shoulders and carry them into the house often. I do it, I don't know, maybe every couple of months. It's so efficient. We get the soft water. We enjoy all of the benefits of soft water without all the backbreaking work. So if you're interested in soft water, I've loved having all the benefits for the skin, laundry, dishes. Give Connecticut of Utah a call, an authorized Connecticut dealer, at 801-576-8600. That's 801-576-8600. Or, of course, you can check them out online at softwaterutah.com.
Start the new year off with a bang of big savings during the Omaha Steaks end-of-season event. You can stock up on all your favorites and get 50% off site-wide. That's 50% off incredible steaks like their legendary Butcher's Cut Filet Mignon, or sink your teeth into their memorable Butcher's Cut Top Sirloin. Just go to omahasteaks.com. Plus, when you use code QUALITY at checkout, you'll get an extra $30 off your order. From perfectly aged tender steaks to juicy burgers, decadent desserts, and classic comfort meals, every bite is guaranteed perfect. For a limited time, get 50% off site-wide. Plus, save an extra $30 when you use promo code QUALITY at checkout. Start the new year off right and warm up your winter with tender steaks and hearty home-cooked favorites from Omaha Steaks. All 50% off with their end-of-season event. Make sure to enter the promo code QUALITY at checkout to get that extra $30 off your order. Minimum purchase may apply. Omaha Steaks, America's original butcher.
Tim Jr. here from RGS Exteriors. And did you know that we get a bunch of service calls per year from people who didn't even hire us? That means they originally hired someone else to replace their siding, gutters, and windows. Then later, when a problem popped up, they tried to call their contractor back to fix it, only to find out that the contractor has ceased to exist. They're gone, done, out of business. At RGS Exteriors, we've been serving Utah for 70 years. As a fifth-generation owned contractor, we've got customers who are the grandkids of our customers we had in the 1950s and 60s. We're not going anywhere. We will be here when you need us, period. For siding, gutters, and windows, now and forever, call RGS Exteriors at 801-280-3110 or visit at rgsexteriors.com. That's 801-280-3110 or rgsexteriors.com.
Hi friends, Dan the Laptop Man here from PC Laptops. I get a lot of emails from people all the time. Here's one. Dear Dan, I hear your talk about a lifetime service guarantee. Free? Really? Please help me avoid all your fine print and be honest about what free means. You understand that we should be very wary of a free offer. Signed, Skeptical. Hi, Skeptical. I remember 22 years ago when we started PC Laptops and our lifetime service guarantee, people thought it was too good to be true. Well, after a decade, people started believing me a little bit. But it's been 22 years of having the privilege to serve our friends and neighbors like you. Our lifetime service guarantee has become the most trusted warranty in the industry. You can get a brand new PC Laptops desktop computer, and they start at only $29 a month. Check us out at PCLaptops.com. That's PCLaptops.com. Here's to seeing you soon, Skeptical.
With the three things you need to know this hour, I'm Tim Hughes. First, several townhomes were evacuated last night after high carbon monoxide readings. Second, a proposed bill would add AI-generated pornography to the State Sexual Exploitation Act. And third, Lieutenant Governor Deidre Henderson and First Lady Abby Cox will endorse Nikki Haley for president at a press conference today. We're going to shoot for a high today of 29 degrees, and right now with plenty of snow falling out there, it is 23. Back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Former governor of New Jersey, Chris Christie, just dropped out of the race in his run for the White House in a hot mic moment. His microphone was still on. Boy, did he ever bash Nikki Haley's chances at the White House.
She's going to get smoked, and you and I both know it. She's not up to this.
Now, what he's saying is Donald Trump's lead is just so enormous. It doesn't really matter who is in second place and who's battling to. It doesn't matter. Trump is up by 50 points. Now, there is one little silver lining of hope for Nikki Haley specifically. If you look at the polls in New Hampshire, and that's the next primary. First it's Iowa, it's the Iowa caucus, then it goes to New Hampshire. She's within 7 points of Donald Trump. Now, if she does well in Iowa, perhaps she takes a strong second, maybe even pulls out a crazy victory in New Hampshire. That might change everything. But everywhere else in the country, every poll shows Donald Trump is dominant.
She had an opportunity last night to really stand out on the debate stage. One last debate aired on CNN, right? Was it CNN? Just before, I want to just give credit where credit's due. I saw it on CNN.
Yeah.
I don't know if it aired the whole time on CNN because I was at a city council meeting in the snowstorm. So she, but I'm not quite sure. She was able to have a standout moment last night.
If you have to lie to win, you don't deserve to win.
Because a lot of what was done is that, Haley and DeSantis ended up just calling each other.
If she says she's never said something, that definitely means she said it. And then she'll say, you're lying, you're lying. That means not only did she say it, but she's on videotape saying it.
Go to DeSantisLies.com and you can find out for yourself.
She said, go to DeSantisLies.com, I think like 15 times. It was over and over and over again. And let me just tell you, watching that, it was such an opportunity missed. I despise when candidates are talking to each other, talking at each other, criticizing. I don't care what you think about Ron DeSantis. I do not care. Just tell me what you want to do for the country. And every candidate gets sucked into it. It becomes personal. And I think that was the worst performance so far I've seen.
Maybe the problem last night was she tried to deliver her greatest hits, which happened in an earlier debate. So what really happened with Nikki Haley is she was such an underdog from the beginning that no one ever thought she'd get to this point. But she had this standout debate several months ago that really put her on the map. And this is when she was attacking Vivek Ramaswamy.
Do you want a leader from a different generation who's going to put this country first? Or do you want Dick Cheney in 3-inch heels?
All right, Mr.
In which case, we've got two of them on stage.
Mr. Ramaswamy, thank you.
When it was pretty clear, she's like, I'm not standing for that
So
talk.
I'd first like to say they're 5-inch heels, and I don't wear them unless you can run in them.
We've got two of you on stage.
The second thing that I will say is I wear heels. They're not for a fashion statement. They're for ammunition. I don't wear them unless you can run in them.
That approach worked there. I think last night what we needed to hear more about was going forward, here's what I'm going to do for you, and here's what I'm going to do for America. And not any focus at all on liar, liar, pants on fire kind of chatter.
Absolutely. Totally agree. And we're taking your phone calls, 801-575-TALK, 801-575-TALK, as we have several Utahns that are going to be throwing their support behind Nikki Haley, the First Lady, Abby Cox, and then Lieutenant Governor Deidre Henderson, two of the biggest names that will be supporting Nikki Haley. We want to know, do you believe, or is Nikki Haley going to get smoked? Tamara and Sandy, what do you think?
Hi. Well, I don't like the fact that she quit being a UN ambassador after 2 years, number one.
UN ambassador is like dog years, though. I mean, that's a lot of work. I don't blame anyone. It wasn't like 2 months, but 2 years. All right, anyway, go ahead. Your point.
Okay. And I don't like that she withdrew from the Iran deal or the UN Human Rights Council. And to me, like secretaries of state, she just doesn't have the wherewithal to be like Madeleine Albright. There was Condoleezza Rice, Hillary Clinton. I just don't think she's qualified.
Then who does in the Republican field? I mean, because now
What do
we're
you
down
mean?
to Ron DeSantis. Is Vivek still even in it? I mean, he wasn't invited last night on the stage for the debate, and that's usually a massive hint. Hint, hint. So who is it? Is it President Trump? Is he the golden boy for this? Is he gonna is he gonna get a second shot at it? You think? Does he deserve it?
Are you still talking to me?
Yeah, I'm still talking to you, Tamara.
Oh,
We haven't
no,
let you go.
I don't think Trump. Oh my gosh, no. I don't think he should be president of the United States again. Period.
So thanks, Tamara. So then that leaves us with who? Biden. Is that where we're going
Vivek,
again?
DeSantis, there's still people in the race.
I'm curious. I would love to talk to Republicans about in Iowa specifically, the same ones that CNN talked to last night. Like, what is it? Because many of them are saying we're still going to support Donald Trump, or it's coming down to the wire when the caucuses are held. I'm going to decide on Sunday night between DeSantis and Trump, and they're not considering at all Nikki Haley. And I want to know. I would love that follow-up question to have been why? Why not her? Why not her? Are you afraid that she just won't, be able to stand up to President Biden once they both get on the same ballot? Is it because she's a woman? Why not Nikki Haley? Go ahead, Dave.
Let's go to Cindy. Cindy, what do you think?
Well, I think last night I listened very, very carefully, and I think that that supposed hot mic moment might have not been that spontaneous.
You're suspicious.
Cindy, I'm with you. Cindy, I am so with you.
Cindy, stand by for a moment, because for those listeners who are just tuning in, I want to play it for them. It was Chris Christie just, dropping out of the race for the White House, gets caught on what's being billed as a hot mic moment.
She's going to get smoked, and you and I both know it. She's not up to this.
Talking about Nikki Haley. And so, Dave, you had said just a few moments ago that you sort of had the same suspicion that that Cindy had.
Oh, I'm glad she said it, because I'd forgotten that I wanted to make that point. This is Chris Christie, who has never in his entire life met a microphone that he's not aware of. He loves the mic. He loves the camera. He knows absolutely. He is so savvy. He knows exactly what he was doing. I have no question in my mind that he knew that this was going to be one of those quote-unquote hot mic moments, and I think it's damaging. I think it is absolutely damaging.
It's super uncomfortable. It feels really awkward. I was glad he'd already dropped out of the race by then, because I figured, well, at least he's out of the race now, and he's out of the way. But I just, why say that? Why say that? Obviously, it would be really super strange now if he turned around and endorsed her.
Or endorsed DeSantis? Is that where he's going to throw his weight?
Straight ahead. You think of the place you've lived. Like, you've moved in and you find black mold that wasn't obvious before you signed your rental agreement, or mice living rent-free in the hall closet. Well, there's a new proposal on Capitol Hill to crack down on landlords who keep hidden troubles a secret from tenants. We're going to talk about that next.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
It's 10 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Britt Johnson. KSL's top story this hour, avalanche danger is going up in our mountains. Alta Ski Communications Manager Andrea Huskinson tells KSL TV there could be more road closures for avalanche control.
I think this weekend we might see some more of it. It just depends like what the wind does. The winds were blowing really hard last night. That affects it. Snow, moisture, the moisture content in the snow.
She says when the winds really pick up, they sometimes have to delay opening some lifts for safety reasons. U.S. lawmakers are proposing a $7 billion extension for the Affordable Connectivity Program. It provides $30 in discounts on internet service for low-income households and up to $75 in discounts for eligible households on tribal lands. The program was especially popular in California, Kentucky, North Carolina, and Ohio, where 6 out of 10 eligible households were registered for the discount. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. Ahead of the first votes of 2024 presidential campaign Monday's Iowa caucuses, Republican rivals Nikki Haley and Ron DeSantis going head-to-head, for the most part laying off frontrunner Donald Trump, who's shunned all GOP debates so far.
They treated Trump with kid gloves, and they used boxing gloves on each other. And I think that's just reflective of this current Republican Party. It is unpopular to be anti-Trump. And so I don't think that we can expect for either DeSantis or Haley to take direct aim at former President Trump.
That's ABC News Deputy Political Director Avery Harper reporting from Des Moines. Your money at this moment, things are down in the red. The Dow has lost 242 points. The S&P is off 38 points, and the NASDAQ has lost 147 points. Coming up, the snow just keeps coming. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 10:01.
News doesn't just mean information or dates.
It's the story of our local history being told in real time.
Be a part of the story. This is Tim Hughes and Amanda Dixon.
We hope to be a part of your story. We have you covered on KSL News Radio.
When words come out of our mouths and everything sounds fine, no one bats an eye. But if things come out a little jumbled or letters sound different than most, there's speech therapy. But did you know that speech therapy is used for more than just stuttering or disfluency? From articulation to expressive and receptive language to a simple act of swallowing that most of us take for granted, speech therapy can do amazing things for you, your health, and of course your sense of self. That's why Summit Speech Therapy is here. Summit Speech Therapy works with people of all ages, from infants and toddlers who have a difficult time feeding or eating, TBI, stroke, or coma patients, to children and adults with speech problems. So much of it is all related, and Summit Speech Therapy can help. Summit works with all insurance companies as well as private pay options, and the experience can be life-changing. With clinics up and down the Wasatch Front, including Murray, with no long waiting for an appointment. For more, visit summitslp.com. That's summitslp.com.
Going to a Jazz game is more fun together. Host an unforgettable night at Delta Center with colleagues, friends, families, whoever. Group tickets are the best way to get everyone together to cheer on the Jazz. Pick from a variety of options for seating, dining, and game day experiences. Start planning your big night at the game by calling 801-355-DUNK, emailing group sales at utahjazz.com, or simply visiting utahjazz.com/tickets.
Les Olson IT now provides building security solutions. Do you need physical access control for your facilities? Are you looking for video surveillance systems accessible in the palm of your hand? Les Olson IT has what you need, and their low-voltage network cabling specialists will install it and make sure it's working the way it should. Learn more at lesolson.com.
Les Olson IT.
Any Hour Services can help you make sure your furnace keeps you warm this winter. Whether you need a tune-up, a repair, or a second opinion about replacing it, call Any Hour Services or visit anyhourservices.com.
Derek Overstreet, founder of the New Millennium Group. We're a financial planning firm. Listen, we're fiduciaries. We have advisors standing by right now to take your call. That's 888-999-6370. 888-999-6370. The reason you're going to want to call is we're going to help you retire 3 to 5 years before you thought possible. Now, imagine how that would be if you could actually retire 3 to 5 years sooner than your plan was. The way we do this is by putting together a step-by-step plan, taking into consideration any rental properties that you have, any pension income that you have, your Social Security. Listen, we put that all together for you in writing. It will allow us to build your income based on inflation. You know, inflation has been rapidly rising. You and I both need a plan that whatever we start out our income at, in 5 or 10 years, we're going to need 40% more income. So if you're one of those people listening and you'd like a plan in writing, give us a call at 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370, or go to utahsfinancialplanner.com.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by Sinclair. Save up to 20 cents with DinoPay. Here's Len Thomas.
Thank you, Britt. The big wave of snow is back and traffic is slowly navigating the wave. In the Salt Lake Valley on I-15, a crash southbound I-15 at 106 South, closing a right lane. In Davis County, freeways have been good all day, but southbound I-15 into the Salt Lake Valley is slowed way down from the north interchange as well as the north end of the west belt from the north interchange to I-80. Utah County, all the delays there have dissipated on I-15 at least. Lagoon is looking for ride maintenance technicians. Lagoon offers excellent mechanical training programs with amazing career opportunities. Ride maintenance technician position is full-time and year-round. Details, visit lagoonpark.com/jobs. Len Thomas in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL weather, light snow happening out there and cold today, a high of only 29 degrees. It will warm up a bit as we make our way through the weekend, getting into the upper 30s by Saturday. The winter storm watch remains in effect, though, from Friday morning through Sunday afternoon. Right now, it's snowy and 25 degrees. I'm Britt Johnson from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories. On KSL News Radio, Eye on the Hill 2024. Special coverage on KSL News Radio.
Think back of all the places you've lived, Dave. And I know you lived in an apartment years and years ago, probably when you were in college.
Yeah, in your younger years, as you do.
Or as you refer
newlyweds.
To newlyweds. Yeah, for sure. So you move in and you find after you've lived there for a couple of weeks, there's black mold. You didn't know that before you signed the lease because they'd done a good job scrubbing the place down, right? Fresh coat of paint will cure everything. Mice, maybe they're living rent-free with you in the hall closet, right? After you get your stuff in there and you find well, who's eating through the box? There is a new proposal on Utah's Capitol Hill to crack down on landlords who don't tell tenants about hidden troubles. And I really wanted to talk about this morning. The session, of course, starting in just a couple of days. It starts on Tuesday. Dave, myself, Tim and Amanda, Boyd, Jeff, all up there throughout the day on Tuesday. There's so many pieces of legislation that will do a better job of protecting Utah families. And this is one that caught my eye.
I'm chuckling a little bit because, number one, holy cow, about time, right? Initially about time. But for a previous segment, I was looking through some old Judge Judy sound because she had endorsed Nikki Haley. And anyway, I was listening through some old Judge Judy clips. And sure enough, she was talking about landlords on her show. Oh, did I miss it?
You got it.
Do you have to hit? Do you have to hit on? I think sometimes you
hit on, Dave. Hit on.
Got to turn the microphones on.
I want to hear what Judge Judy had to say about this. Okay.
How long have you been landlords?
I've been a landlord for 30 years, Your Honor.
Well, maybe you've been getting away with this kind of nonsense, but you're not going to get away with this kind of nonsense here.
And that's what's happening right now. Is no longer can landlords get away with any nonsense.
So, the legislature, as I said, starts Tuesday, and on the agenda is this proposal that would require a landlord to tell a prospective tenant in writing of any defects with the property. There's a little more to it than that, and so I wanted to bring Greg Skordas, our KSL legal analyst, on the show to walk through it, because I do feel like tenants, especially in a hot rental market, Greg, can just get blindsided by stuff that the landlords have swept under the rug, so to speak, and they get their name on a lease, and then they're stuck in a lease for a couple of years, and they don't feel like there's any way out. So walk us through why you think this proposal is important to protect tenants.
Yeah, so Debbie, there are actually, if you look at the Utah landlord tenant law, there are over 100 conditions that a landlord has to follow to make sure that the dwelling that he or she is renting out is safe, that it has clean water, that it has hot water, that there are no material defects or anything like that. But we've added this new bill that you guys have talked about, adds 4 more conditions, and that is that the landlord actually has to affirmatively disclose material problems with the dwelling that may not be readily apparent to the tenant, that may not be like you guys gave a few examples that maybe the tenant couldn't just find immediately, such as a mold condition that had been covered up, or a roof leak that had been patched over, so that the tenant doesn't have any surprises. And it even goes further to say, even if the tenant looks around, if it's not readily apparent, not readily
like to the naked eye,
viewable by the right to the naked eye, that the landlord needs to go forward and make sure that the tenant is aware that there are some problems with the dwelling.
Greg, that answers a little bit of my question, because I was wondering how much responsibility is it lies on the tenant to walk through and not just sign because you're desperate, but to actually walk through, make sure that's a good fit, and know what you're getting into, because you can definitely get what you pay for when it comes to rent. You can't get a very affordable rent and expect the penthouse.
Right, and this doesn't excuse the tenant from just renting a place sight unseen. I mean, there are some obligations that the tenant has to at least go look at it and make sure that it's what they're expecting, and that the stairs aren't steeper than they expected, or more stairs, or something like that. I mean, tenants certainly have their share of obligations too. And by the way, the laws are still fairly favorable to landlords as it relates to tenants, because at its core, we're talking about contract law, simple contract law, and lease agreements are a contract, and that's what judges look at when you go to see Judge Judy or whoever. But this just gives another layer of protection to tenants as it relates to landlords who cover up or at least don't disclose material defects with the dwelling that they're about to rent out.
Well, and I think we've all heard those horror stories. I certainly have. We had a woman on the air call in a couple of weeks ago, Greg, and she had a complaint about a situation going on in a place that she was renting. As a news reporter over the years, I've covered numerous stories where tenants felt like they were, things were hidden. They couldn't see, and then they get in there, and then they're stuck in these leases, and they've got black mold, or they've got other conditions going on in the place that just are not safe for their families. And I think this particular proposal would give tenants a reasonable exit plan in law. If they get in there and they find out 3 weeks after they've been in there, they got black mold growing all over the baby's bedroom.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And you'd expect, Debbie, that landlords would have a much better lobbying system than tenants in Utah, because maybe a lot more legislators are landlords than tenants. But they've done a very good job, our legislature has, at protecting tenants. And this law, which is now expanding a little bit. I mean, it had like 103 conditions. Now it has 107 because they're adding 4 more that a landlord has to follow. And these are pretty specific. I mean, they go through a lot of things the legislature does in this law to make sure that tenants are treated fairly, that landlords act in the spirit of full disclosure before they rent something out and before a tenant moves in and signs on the bottom line. And I think it's a very fair law, and I think Utah's doing a very good job. The legislature is making sure that both sides are protected in the landlord-tenant agreement.
Greg Skordas, thank you for joining us, KSL legal analyst.
Yeah, I'm glad to see this. I do think this will give tenants an out. I do worry about market conditions when they get to be really hot like they are right now, that everybody's in a hurry to either turn a place over or tenants in a hurry to sign a lease. You still have to do your due diligence. I would still walk through the place, of course. But this points to a scenario where you've walked through it, you look around, nothing is obvious to the naked eye that there's something wrong, but then you get into that lease agreement and the landlord's like, oh, and then you bump into the previous tenant and you find out this has been an ongoing issue for years, and now you're stuck in this lease.
I'll say this, nice job for the state of Utah to already have in place 100 or so conditions that need to be met before you can rent something out.
Can I give you one more that I didn't realize existed until I did what Greg did late yesterday and started going through some of these conditions that are already in law. So, for example, I didn't know that there is a cap on late fees. So if you're late paying your rent, there's a cap written into state law on late fees, and it says this. It's 10% of the rent agreement. It's 10% of the rent in the rental agreement. So let's say you're paying $1,000 a month, right? When we all love that, it's $100, or $75.
Whichever is greater.
The owner may not charge a renter a late fee that exceeds the greater of $75 or 10% of the rent.
Oh, okay,
agreement.
so it can't be over.
It caps it.
Caps at 75.
Right.
Okay.
So basically, it caps it. And I didn't know that because I always worry about tenants who are running behind on their rent payment, and then the landlord slam dunks, like a $500 late fee on them. We'll put more of this at kslnewsradio.com, so you can start looking through this if you are a tenant or you're looking at renting a place, and you can figure out what your rights are with one click.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Here's a trick to podcasting at work and getting all the Utah news you love.
Download the KSL News Radio app.
The podcast for Utah's morning news and Dave and Debbie are right there. Dozens of podcasts a day.
That's the app for KSL News Radio.
Weeks like this are what KSL is all about.
Moderate to heavy snow throughout the day, through the overnight.
The roads up north just getting hammered right now, including I-15.
Thicker, heavier, wetter snow than this powdery light stuff we've been getting.
Harder to shovel come the weekend. Extra reporters, emergency traffic conditions, school cancellations. Rely on KSL News Radio.
102.7 FM,
1160 AM.
And ask Alexa, play KSL News Radio.
Get ready for the ultimate movie experience. You, your loved ones, the big screen, and, oh yeah, the world-class Utah Symphony playing the movie's music live, giving you next-level surround sound. Don't miss the Hollywood classic Casablanca or the animated favorite How to Train Your Dragon. The Films in Concert series will become your new preferred cinematic experience. Located conveniently in downtown Salt Lake City at Marisa Bravenel Hall. See what's playing next at utahsymphony.org/films. Listen to the greatest classical hits from the 1700s to today. The world-class Utah Symphony performs thoughtfully curated programs featuring timeless masterpieces by Strauss, Dvorak, and Tchaikovsky, and even world premieres from modern composers. The Utah Symphony's Masterworks concerts offer elegant and entertaining evenings at Marisa Bravenel Hall in the heart of Salt Lake City. Tickets start as low as $21. Get yours at utahsymphony.org.
I had no idea what the world of cabinets might hold for me, but Euromax has opened my eyes to what cabinets should be. This is Hans Olsen, and I eat a lot of food. With that comes storing a lot of food, and Euromax has customized that for me. Deep shelves for extra storage, LED lights that come on as the door opens so I can eat at night, charging ports for phones or iPads, spice racks, elevated shelving for cans, glass fronts or specific color and texture fronts, deep pull-out drawers for pots and pans, and all of it waterproof and warranted for life. The perfect place to store my most prized possession, my food. Mike and Max have 35-plus combined years of experience from America to Europe to form the most unique blend of traditional American craftsmanship and authentic European design. You can head to their showroom in Pleasant Grove or check out all the possibilities at EuromaxFurniture.com. Sleek, elegant, innovative design, fashioned in Europe, and installed right here in Utah. That's EuromaxFurniture.com. Euromax, built for you.
This song doesn't have a name, but if it did, it'd probably be something about togetherness, because it's a collaboration. Not between pop stars and producers, but between music therapists and kids. Music therapy is a treatment that doesn't involve medication or needles, and it's been proven to help children manage pain and contribute to faster healing. So it shouldn't surprise you, it's our favorite song. And just one way we partner with you for a life well lived. Intermountain Health. The power of we.
Paid for by government.com.
The 1878 to 1921 Morgan silver dollar, a true American classic and one of the most iconic silver dollar coins in history. It's been 100 years since the last Morgan silver dollar coin was struck for circulation. And now, for a limited time only, full pound bags of original U.S. government struck Morgan dollars are being released to the public. That's right, you can own a full pound of 1878 to 1921 classic American Morgan silver dollar coins, all in very good collector condition with fully visible dates and mint marks, guaranteed. Call 1-800-473-0864 now to secure collector-grade U.S. Morgan silver dollars by the pound, struck during the Wild West and the Gilded Age. Plus, receive a bonus American Collector's Pack valued at over $25, free with every order. Call 1-800-473-0864 now to secure your full pound bag of Morgan silver dollar coins before they are gone. 1-800-473-0864. That's 1-800-473-0864.
With the 3 things you need to know this hour, I'm Britt Johnson. First, avalanche danger is going up in our mountains, and there could be more road closures for avalanche control. Second, U.S. lawmakers are proposing a $7 billion extension for the Affordable Connectivity Program. It provides discounts on internet service for low-income households. Third, DeSantis and Haley treated Trump with kid gloves, and they used boxing gloves on each other at the most recent debate. Right now, it's 25 degrees and snowing in Salt Lake City. Back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Governor Spencer Cox just sent a letter out statewide to school districts, teachers. I don't know, maybe it didn't go to teachers. Sorry, Gov. Maybe it went to principals, school boards. He's urging teachers and schools to no longer allow for cell phone use during class time.
Okay, I have 2 thoughts here. Number 1, I totally agree. Cell phones in the classroom are a disaster. They are an incredible distraction. They're an incredible tool used for cheating. Cheating is rampant.
Oh, you know what, Dave? That's a great point.
Oh.
No, I know cheating is rampant, but I didn't. That's a great point.
And this is not because Dave's done a study. This is totally just talking to kids that full on admit to me how they're cheating and how common it is. So that's number 1, the problem. Mm-hmm. Cell phones, I agree, should not be in the classroom. Should we have a state law banning them?
That's not what this is.
I know, but what I'm wondering is that there's a discussion out there of whether the state legislature should pass a law to ban altogether. But the governor, it seems, is trying to find that happy medium.
Yeah, so instead of the heavy hammer from the Capitol Hill telling all schools what to do, I looked at this letter that the governor sent as hey, encouraging, please, let's think about this. And he says in the letter, or the letter, that it's working in some schools already. And once everybody kind of gets on board and gets used to the idea, it's not a big deal. So let's consider, for the sake of kids, for the sake of learning, that cell phones stay in backpacks. They stay in lockers if schools are still using lockers. Maybe they stay in a bin at the back of the class. The governor actually joined Jeff Kaplan yesterday after that letter was issued.
Everyone is getting these letters, at least every school district and every school in the state. And what I'm doing is I'm asking teachers, I'm asking principals and superintendents to do what the data says we should all be doing. And I think we know this inherently, and that is that we shouldn't have cell phones in the classroom. They are a disruption. They're doing incredible damage to our teens, their mental health, and it's making it harder for our kids to perform well. Now, look, there are schools doing this. Lots of schools already doing this in the state, and what we've seen is a tremendous uptick in outcomes. Kids are performing better on tests. There are fewer disruptions in class, better behaviors, less mental health problems. It's just a win-win all the way around.
I agree. I don't think enough classrooms are doing it, though. I think it's far too lax. There's no consistency. Even from class to class, teacher to teacher, the policy will wildly vary.
KSL News Radio's Lindsay Ertz, KSL 5 Television. I always, it just rolls off the tongue. You used to be our colleague here at KSL News Radio, but we still see you in the newsroom.
Still your colleague.
Yeah, you
yes,
are.
I'm
You
still your
are.
colleague.
So can you speak to why the governor decided to send out a letter? Because in years past, the legislature has talked about a ban. They haven't been able to get that one rolling, though. So now this letter goes out. So what do you know about the letter?
Yeah, well, there's a couple issues at play here, I think. First of all, the governor kind of told us he was going to do this back in his monthly news conference that he does every month. I believe it was back in December. Said, I'm going to send a letter to every educator in the state, basically, to say this is the policy I think districts should have. Now, a couple of issues at play. Yes, the legislature did try to do this last year. In fact, it was a bill run by Representative Trevor Lee out of Davis County. He wanted, just an outright ban on cell phones in school. And I think it got a lot of pushback. And this is kind of where some of the unscientific Twitter feedback that my feed is getting is coming in, where people are saying that the government is getting involved in these local decisions. And so perhaps the governor is trying to make it so there's not a ban, just encouraging this through the school districts, encouraging this policies, again, still giving them that local control of being able to implement these policy, but certainly saying this is the policy I think is best. Right. So I haven't spoken to him, and I don't know that that's what his motivation is. But clearly his motivation is he believes that, kids should not be using cell phones in class. And he wanted to send the message to every educator in the state.
And it does seem to be a fairly common thing. I spoke to House Speaker Mike Schultz, and we were asking him, is there an appetite to ban it on the state level? And kind of echoed what the governor was saying. It was like, I'd like everyone else to kind of deal with this, but are there legislators that you know of that are absolutely all in and saying, no, let's just have one consistent policy, let's ban it across the board?
Yeah, well, I think Trevor Lee out of Davis County, who ran that bill last year, would be one of them. I don't know how much support that bill got. There's 104 lawmakers up on Utah's Capitol Hill, so you need more than one person to like the idea in order for it to pass. But certainly it was an idea that he tried to pass legislatively, and I think it did get a lot of pushback because, again, this sort of letting the districts control the policy at the district level is something that I think districts probably want, and it's probably different for every school, right? A cell phone policy for a middle school is going to be different than a cell phone policy for a high school, right? So perhaps each of the districts need to have their own, different policy for the different age groups. Sure. Now, my children are in elementary school, right? So none of my my daughter's third grade class really has cell phones yet, but they're all starting to get those Gab watches, They're all starting to get those watches, and, do those count under the cell phone policy, right? So I think there are some things to flesh out here. But again, I think the governor is trying to send that broad message and is using his bully pulpit, if you will, of the governor's chair in order to be able to tell the district what he thinks about this.
Well, I think I respect him for sending that out, and it's a great step. It avoids the legislature having to come back and say, you know what, we're gonna legislate this and we're gonna mandate this. And Lindsay, I think you hit it absolutely square right on the head. That every school is different, every district is different. And it's not a one-size-fits-all kind of approach if each district does it individually, or they even do it at the school level. KSL5 Television's Lindsay Erich. You can catch her on KSL5 TV weeknights, and, of course, occasionally here back on KSL News Radio with us. She's covered the legislature for years for us here at KSL News Radio. We always appreciate her availability to us.
Part of what confuses me about this discussion is why everyone is so wishy-washy. There are so many things that we crack down on in schools. Think of the dress code. If you wear a hat or a shirt that is inappropriate, or a dress or a skirt that is too short, that will be addressed immediately, every single time. I mean, gum, soda. There's so many things we crack down.
Clear backpacks too. So in some schools, maybe not here, but some schools will even go to clear backpacks so they can see what the kids are toting around, and they mandate it. Gum, that was banned when I was in school.
Oh yeah, no, and there's a teacher that will see you from like 4 rows away, and you have just a subtle little twitch in your jaw, and she's like, spit that gum out. We crack down on so many things. I don't know why we're being such wimps when it comes to cell phones, whereas I think most of us can agree they are an absolute distraction in the classroom. You go into any classroom and you watch a teacher that is up there lecturing, look at how many eyeballs are pointed down looking at their phone, and tell me we shouldn't be doing anything at the state level.
We're broadcasting live right now on our KSL News Radio Facebook page. So you're not only hearing Dave's emotion in his voice, you're also seeing all of his gesturing. So if you can do so, log on to our KSL News Radio Facebook page. Leave us a comment there. We're also taking your live phone calls next, 801-575-TALK. I think the question is simple. I mean, maybe the issue is complicated, but this question is really simple. Should cell phones be allowed in classrooms? 801-575-TALK.
It's 10:31 at KSL News Radio. I'm Britt Johnson. KSL's top story this hour. We've got a good chance of seeing more scattered snow today. The best chances are in the early afternoon and during the evening commute. KSL meteorologist Matt Johnson says we've got a chance to see snow again tomorrow, but a lot more on Saturday.
But right now it does look like 1 to 4 inches, maybe more, on Saturday afternoon into the evening.
Some forecasts suggest the valleys could get up to 10 inches this weekend. Matt says that storm could drop 2 feet in the mountains. Snow is possible again on Sunday. Lagoon has gotten some national recognition. The new Primordial roller coaster has been named the #1 new theme park attraction of 2024 by USA Today. It reaches a top speed of 40 miles per hour and has multiple drops. Lagoon says the ride holds the world record for the tallest vertical drop track with 8 different possible endings. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. The Biden administration remains undecided on moving forward with a ban on menthol cigarettes. Almost 9 in 10 African-American smokers prefer menthol-flavored tobacco, and the White House is reportedly concerned about backlash to the proposed ban among black voters.
This is Jim Ryan. Talk of banning menthols comes 60 years to the day after Surgeon General Luther Terry announced that
cigarette smoking is related to higher death rates in a number of disease categories.
He made the announcement on a Saturday to keep from spooking the stock market. The 6 decades since have seen rates fall from 42% to around 14% of Americans who smoke.
Your money at this moment, the Dow is down 208 points, the S&P has lost 34 points, and the NASDAQ has lost 135 points. Coming up, looks like more snow this weekend. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 10:32.
You know what's great about KSL's traffic coverage? Trained traffic reporters and real listeners.
Trading information and making the commute safer and faster for everyone.
Every 10 minutes on the 9s, we have you covered on KSL News Radio.
Looking for the best show deals on new and used RVs? You'll find them only in Ogden during the Northern Utah RV Show, January 11th through the 15th. We're bringing in new and used inventory and low show pricing inside the Golden Spike Event Center. For 4 full days, shop new and used travel trailers, fifth wheels, toy haulers, motorhomes, and more from the nation's top brands. Find early season discount pricing on all new models and fantastic used RV discounts like a 2011 Dutchman 185 DB Sport for just $9,995. You'll also find that every remaining 2023 is being sold at clearance pricing during the event. Plus, get no payments until April on approved credits and huge trade-in offers on your current RV. Go to NorthUtahRVShow.com to shop the best deals first. This show season, you'll find it all in Ogden. Admission and parking are free to the Northern Utah RV Show, January 11th through the 15th inside the Golden Spike Event Center. Open daily at 10 a.m., closed Sunday. Then we're back at it Monday, Martin Luther King Day from 10 to 5. Sponsored by Bish's RV. Don't miss it.
My little brother's friends have been camped out at our place for 2 days straight. 3. It's because of the Xfinity 10G network. Internet that can handle a house full of screens at once, with basically no interruptions. And it's only getting faster. When I was their age, internet like this was a pipe dream.
You sound like my grandpa.
Please go home.
The next generation 10G network only from Xfinity. The future starts now. Now through March 21st, new customers can get 1.2 gigabit internet on the Xfinity 10G network for just $25 a month for 2 years with no annual contract and Wi-Fi equipment included when you add Xfinity Mobile with unlimited data at regular rates. Go to xfinity.com/10G, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Requires paperless plan and auto-pay with stored bank account. Restrictions apply. Taxes and fees extra. Xfinity Mobile requires Xfinity Internet. After promo, regular rates apply to internet service and Wi-Fi equipment. Actual speeds vary.
This is it. The best year of your life starts right here with Soda Weight Loss.
I am ready for this.
It's Soda Shape Up Showdown, where you could win a full year of Soda's amazing program and a $2,000 wardrobe makeover.
Oh, yeah.
Because with Soda, you will let go of the weight and keep it off for good. Soda is the #1 weight loss program in America for client satisfaction and results, and we have the proof at sodaweightloss.com.
2024 is going to be my year.
What are you waiting for? If you've tried other diets and the weight just comes back, get real results with Soda Weight Loss. Enter to win a year's free program and a $2,000 makeover right now. Email shapeup@sodaweightloss.com. That's shapeup@sodaweightloss.com. Some restrictions apply. See store for details. Don't wait. Enter to win the Shape Up Showdown now by emailing shapeup@sodaweightloss.com.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by Sinclair. Save up to 20 cents with Dino Pay. Here's Len Thomas.
Well, Brett, the snow is dumping mid-valley with a crash southbound I-15 about 33rd south on the right shoulder. Further south where this crash is, southbound I-15 106 south, the sun is shining, but the roads are still wet. Out on the West Belt, it's not snowing, but it's cloudy and icy with a crash southbound I-215 at 1700 south on the right shoulder, and another one facing the other direction, northbound 1900 south on the right shoulder of the West Belt. Don't miss the amazing Utah Auto Expo, January 12th through the 15th at the Mountain America Exposition Center. See the newest cars, trucks, electric vehicles, all in a non-selling environment. AutoExpoUtah.com. Len Thomas in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL weather. The snow we're getting now should lighten up soon, but that break won't last too long. It'll be back in the afternoon and the evening. It'll be similar tomorrow with on and off snow showers, but then Saturday there will be quite a bit more, especially in the mountains. The plus side, it will get warmer on Saturday, even up into the upper 30s. Right now, it's 25 degrees and snowy in Salt Lake. I'm Britt Johnson from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio.
Is it about time that we keep cell phones out of classrooms? We're asking this question, and so you can give us a call at 801-575-TALK and weigh in with your opinion. Because the governor of Utah sent a letter to school districts, principals across the state, urging, not requiring, I think that's important. This is not the governor saying the legislature and I have teamed up and we're going to ban cell phones. He has not said that. He's just urging, suggesting no cell phone use during class time.
And I love gentle parenting. I love persuasive parenting. But at some point, you got to drop the hammer. And I think we're at that point. Kids, we've been doing this for a decade now. And kids are obsessed with their phone. They're distracted. They're cheating. They're depressed. All the stuff that comes along with cell phone use. We know it backwards and forwards. But we are so afraid of our children that we refuse to crack down.
801-575-TALK. Good morning, Jana.
Good morning.
Do you agree with Dave, what Dave just said, that we're just so afraid of our children, we're afraid to drop the hammer?
I so am. I am a substitute in junior highs, and the reason that I'm a substitute in junior highs is because I adore the age. That as far as when Dave was talking about rules in the schools, the dress code, oh, kid, there is no dress code. I don't know what you're talking about. There's 3 inches of midriff showing. There's holes in their pants clear up to mid-thigh.
Should there be cell phones in the classroom when you're a substitute teacher? Do you think you get them out of the classroom?
No. When they are in my class, if I see a phone, I take it. Period. Or earbuds. Period.
Being in middle school, you're also our hero.
She's like, I love the age. That 13, 14, 15, you love that age? You're a saint. Jana, we need to clone you. All right, we have another call.
Yeah, we're getting more phone calls right now. 801-575-TALK. Someone wants to just talk in my ear. Put the phone call through. Let's go. Who's on the line next? Good morning.
TJ.
How are you?
Hey, how's it going?
Good. Hello, Deb. I sent you a text, but I'm
Hi,
sure
TJ.
you didn't get it yet.
You know what? I did see it drop in. I'm sorry. I've been busy.
I know. Hey, so here was my comment. We have kids that are so attached to their phones, it becomes an obsession, yes, as Dave said, but also what do we do when they have so much anxiety and stress? Are we going to give them more meds now to get through the day? What do we do?
Oh, so are you saying, TJ, that this just creates a cycle for kids where they're always on their phones and then they develop anxiety because of their phones? Is that your point?
Absolutely. We're seeing that with adults when they go off social media for a week or two, and then they're going, oh, my gosh, I got to get back on. So it is an addiction, and so that's another thing we got to figure out.
Addiction and a distraction for sure. Hey, TJ, thank you so much. I'll text you back in a second. Nick from West Jordan, how do you feel about this? Should cell phones be kept out of the classrooms?
Well, I'm a network engineer, and I work with the internet a lot. And to be honest with you, I think that there's a good middle ground here. I think parents should be more in control of their kids' devices, through parental controls, through other apps and things like that. That's going to keep them off of the social media, keep them from being distracted during their classes, and really have those talks. But I think, we got to keep in mind that we have things like the Safe UT app. We have kids who are going to need things during the school day. And I think taking devices away kind of, with the Safe UT app, they can report dangerous situations or things like that. And I think that they still need their devices, but I think really parents and districts need to have better policies and better controls on those devices.
You bring up an excellent point, Nick. Thanks so much for your phone call. And that is that Safe UT app, which so many kids use, as you pointed out, to notify the school about a threat, or they reach out to a counselor or therapist because they're feeling some dark emotions in the moment, and they're able to get some help and get some support. That's a great point. We use our phones for other things other than like Instagram and texting friends.
Yeah, but I think the majority of use is not, well, I don't need to qualify this. The majority of use is not being used because they're using the Safe UT app, or because they're using it to monitor a medical device. That is the occasional use. Kids are using it 24/7 all the time in class, no question, inappropriately. There are a few cases, I grant you, where they use it and it's important. I think there's a way where you can just say, if you're in class, absolutely no cell phones. At recess, if you want to loosen those restrictions, or in between classes, that's fine. But if you're in class, boom, no cell phone zone for me.
Lawrence, we've got like 30 seconds for your hot take. What do you want to say about cell phones in classrooms?
My kids are all in their late 20s. They had cell phones when they were little. We put restrictions on them. We didn't wait for the schools or the teachers. We told them that if they got caught with their phones out, they were in trouble with us. They didn't have to worry about the teacher. They had them with them in their packs, but they couldn't have them using them in class. We had a situation with divorce and parenting issues and other things, so they had them for a safety thing, but they had to use them properly. That's what we did. It worked.
I love it. I love that parenting works sometimes. I'm going to be honest. I've just seen too many cases, and I know too many cases where kids they probably know better, and they wouldn't admit it to their parents, but they are using it, and they're using it in all the wrong ways. So I think it's time to finally say there needs to be some consistency. We've left it up to the school districts. The school districts have not cracked down nearly as hard as they should. I don't know. I think maybe the solution is a state law. Pass down, have something consistent that everyone can understand from year to year, class to class. Let's simplify this thing.
Straight ahead, BYU now offering a course about the most famous singer in the world right now. Maybe some of you are like, what? What's become of colleges offering a class on Taylor Swift? There's a lot more to this story and to this course. We're going to speak to the professor live next.
Dave and Dujanovic.
A lot of us are filling our workdays with podcasts.
When you're working, go to kslnewsradio.com.
Click on Dave and Debbie's podcast and pick a topic and story length.
Podcast with Dave and Debbie. Then get to work with KSL News Radio.
The winter time, and we love all the snow. We get it. It's cold outside. I am using lotion like crazy because it's just the skin dries out like no other. It's one of the reasons my wife and I decided to invest in a Connecticut water softener because soft water makes such a difference in our skin. We always have struggled with dry skin in our family, and I know, obviously, living here in Utah, we have some of the hardest water in the entire country. So you know exactly what I'm talking about. Soft water really is soft on the skin. It keeps it hydrated, keeps it soft, and you don't need to bathe in lotion afterwards. So if you're interested in making that investment, give Connecticut of Utah a call. They're an authorized Connecticut dealer. 801-576-8600 is the phone number. Give them a call, 801-576-8600. Or if you want to learn more, kind of educate yourself about what soft water does, go to softwaterutah.com. That's softwaterutah.com.
Start the new year off with a bang of big savings during the Omaha Steaks end-of-season event. You can stock up on all your favorites and get 50% off site-wide. That's 50% off incredible steaks like their legendary Butcher's Cut Filet Mignon, or sink your teeth into their memorable Butcher's Cut Top Sirloin. Just go to omahasteaks.com. Plus, when you use code QUALITY at checkout, you'll get an extra $30 off your order. From perfectly aged tender steaks to juicy burgers, decadent desserts, and classic comfort meals, every bite is guaranteed perfect. For a limited time, get 50% off site-wide. Plus, save an extra $30 when you use promo code QUALITY at checkout. Start the new year off right and warm up your winter with tender steaks and hearty home-cooked favorites from Omaha Steaks. All 50% off with their end-of-season event. Make sure to enter the promo code QUALITY at checkout to get that extra $30 off your order. Minimum purchase may apply. Omaha Steaks, America's original butcher.
Not completing high school is more of a social thing than it was an academic thing. Even though all these years have passed, I still had that longing to have my diploma.
At age 30, Carissa finished her high school diploma.
If you're even considering getting your high school diploma, you can do it.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
Jackson Hewitt has a plan to get your tax refund fast with a buck here, buck there. Here a buck, there a buck, everywhere a buck.
You don't have to wait weeks for your tax refund. Get money sooner with a no-fee refund advance loan at Jackson Hewitt.
On this loan, there's a money today guarantee. E-I-E-I-DO.
Don't settle for chicken feed. Get fast bucks at Jackson Hewitt today. No-fee refund advance loans by Republic Bank offered to eligible clients. Money today guarantee if approved for a loan on a prepaid card. Details at jacksonhewitt.com.
Healthcare with human kindness is here. It's at Common Spirit Health. Hospitals, clinics, and caregivers all connected to advance healthcare in Colorado, Kansas, and Utah. Together, we have a common purpose, partnering with you in health and healing using powerful medicine, powerful technology, and the greatest power of all, human kindness. You'll know it when you see it, because human kindness is in every care site and in every caregiver. Common Spirit Health. Hello, human kindness.
Getting help with electrical repairs is easier than you think. All you have to do is call Any Hour Services or schedule an appointment at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
Transform your old, outdated kitchen with Half Price Granite. For a limited time, Half Price Granite is offering special pricing starting at $25 per square foot installed. That's lower than most big box stores. These prices are some of the lowest around. Granite, quartz, marble, and quartzite, all starting at $25 per square foot installed. Call 801-486-1700 or visit halfpricegranite.com. Half Price Granite, affordable luxury.
With the 3 things you need to know this hour, I'm Britt Johnson. First, KSL meteorologist Matt Johnson says we've got a chance to see snow again tomorrow and a lot more on Saturday. Second, the new Primordial roller coaster at Lagoon has been named the #1 new theme park attraction of 2024 by USA Today. Third, the Biden administration remains undecided on moving forward with a ban on menthol cigarettes. Some suspect they're worried about how voters who smoke will react. Right now, it's 25 degrees and snowing in Salt Lake City. Back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic. Dave and Dujanovic.
Lost in translation, maybe I asked for too much, but maybe this thing was a masterpiece till you tore it all up. Running scared, I was there, I remember it all too.
We're going to talk about a new course being offered at BYU in Provo, the Provo campus. Am I right about that? We're going to ask the professor in just a moment. I think this is being offered at the Provo campus about Taylor Swift. It's called Philoswifty. Philoswifty. The philosophy of Taylor Swift. And I am really excited to have the professor on the line with us in just a few moments, because I think that's what a lot of people do. They laugh at Taylor Swift. And it's misguided in so many ways, because she's not only a very savvy businesswoman who became a billionaire this year, and has sold out stadiums across the United States and in foreign countries, and is still going on her stadium tour, put on one of the best concerts ever, epic, and has won multiple awards and is yet 33 years old. So, and has been also credited with helping boost the economy at a time we were about ready to tank because people were getting out and going to her concerts and spending money. But this is about the ethics and politics of Taylor Swift, and Dave continues to laugh and dismiss it. Hey,
I'm not dismissing it.
It's at your school. You're a Cougar fan.
I'm a Cougar. No question. I love BYU, and I'm not dismissing Taylor at all. The fact that you think that she saved the nation's economy, I love that you think that. I chuckle because I am surrounded by Swifties. Like everywhere I go, I am surrounded by Swifties. I am not a Swiftie. That song you just played, you can tell we're surrounded by Swifties because I've never heard that song before. Like that's a deep cut.
Have you heard this one?
I'm so sick of running as fast as I can.
No.
Wondering if I get there
Is that a popular one too?
And I'm so sick of them coming at me again. Cause if I was a man, then I'd be the man.
Yeah, that one.
I don't know that song either. Okay, so let's talk about this class. Now, stick with me for a minute. My gut reaction is to make fun of this class. Like, I want to make fun of it because I've been very critical of higher education. I question the return on investment of many of the degrees that we hand out. So I hear about this class on Taylor Swift and big eye roll. The more I think about it, if done well, and that's the key, if done well, I can see how this captivates students, relate something they care about to something they can learn. So I'm intrigued. Joining us right now is the professor that is teaching this class, Ryan Davis. Thank you for joining us. Number one, am I still surrounded by Swifties?
You are, I'm afraid. But I welcome your eye roll. I welcome it.
Okay, walk me through. How did you sell this to the chair?
Well, that's a good question. I'll give you a pitch. So, take the things for a second that you said in your introduction, which is that Taylor Swift is sort of like, ostensibly made some difference in the economy. A lot of people have gone to the concert. She's become very wealthy in her things. And here's an interesting thing just in that brief description, which is that Taylor Swift has aspects of her life, aspects of things that people identify with her that cut across a lot of the sort of standard political boundaries. So she's taken some stands that are progressive in politics. And she's also written an op-ed in the Wall Street Journal about property rights and being able to make money for what you sell and what you create. And so an interesting thing about her is that she's said things and done things that people who are otherwise on different sides of American politics can identify with and relate to, and that she says things and does things that people who might otherwise be on her side might be a little uncomfortable with. And there's not that much in American politics right now that cuts across the sort of standard political identities. And that's so the phenomena that are like that, there's something interesting about them.
So what will students, and I understand the class is sold out, not a seat left apparently, at least for this semester. What will students learn in your class, Professor?
Well, the thing that we're interested in this class is a class in political philosophy. And so we're interested in reading text closely. And there's a bunch of texts that you could read. And so we read some texts from Taylor Swift from the lyrics. She said all through the summer that she really cares about the lyrics and the details of the lyrics. And the lyrics give an entry point for doing the kinds of readings that you might do otherwise in philosophical texts. So Taylor is very interested in intertextual connections between some parts of her songs and other songs or other albums. There's extratextual evidence about what the texts mean. There's paratextual evidence. There's texts that are about the authority of the text, even though they're not part of the text themselves. And all of those different things appear in other philosophical texts as well. So we look at some of the lyrics and we sort of see that in those ways that some of those connections appear in the lyrics, those same skills in reading can be applied to other philosophical texts.
I was reading your story about the class in the Daily Universe out of BYU, and
yeah.
I think one of the things that stood out to me was how her music has also brought you and I believe your sister together.
My sister and I. Yeah, go ahead, sorry.
And I think that happens I've seen that at concerts, with moms and daughters, and siblings who go together, and boyfriends who go with girlfriends, and it brings them closer together, and there's that bond, and it's just fascinating to watch as well.
Yeah, no, absolutely. There's whole groups of people who were at the concerts, who were at the Eras tour, but they were there for someone else. And I think that there's something meaningful about that.
Please tell me your homework is more than just listening to all the albums.
They have to do the standard writing that you have to. This is the sort of the bad news for the student, but maybe good news for parents, which is that they have to do the standard philosophical writing that you would do in any class in political philosophy or ethics. And the way it works is that there's the standard philosophical readings that you would read every week. There's the questions that appear in ethics and political philosophy, questions about loyalty, questions about friendship, questions about ethics and relationships, as they appear in political context and ethical context. We read all those same papers, just with a sort of Swiftian departure point.
Swiftian, I love it.
Love it.
I love it.
Philoswifty. I love the title of your class, Professor. Super creative. That's awesome.
So I should tell you that's actually just the website that attends this volume that a couple of friends of mine and I are working on.
Oh, keep working on it. It's great.
Philoswifty is just the anagram of philosophy and Swift.
I love it all. Well, have fun, Professor.
Yeah.
Professor Ryan Davis from BYU on the line live with us. Sold out crowd in his new course, which is being offered. And any different opinion?
I took a philosophy class. It was like pulling teeth. This might make it a little bit more consumable.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
It's 11 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Britt Johnson. KSL's top story this hour. Ogden has a new law aimed at helping snowplows. KSL News Radio's Michael Commit reports.
Snow removal teams struggle to cover the whole road when cars are parked on the sides, so this new law prohibits people from parking there when there's 1 or more inches of snow or ice on the street. There are exemptions. You can still park on state-run roads or near spots that don't have a driveway.
There are other cities in Utah that have similar laws. Multiple townhomes in Ogden were evacuated last night after high levels of carbon monoxide were discovered. The source of the CO2 was a car running in a garage. It was left on and ran until it ran out of gas. No one was injured or poisoned. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. Electric vehicles are going to be a little harder to come by if you're thinking of renting one. ABC's Mike Dubusky has more.
Hertz says it's selling off about a third of its electric vehicle fleet. That amounts to around 20,000 cars, mainly Teslas. The rental agency cites weak demand and high repair costs, but it could be good news for buyers. Hertz has more than 350 Tesla Model 3s listed on their car sales website, with many going for under $25,000. That's before federal electric vehicle incentives. It's also less than half of what the electric sedan cost when new. Mike Dubusky, ABC News.
Your money at this moment, the Dow in the red, 147 points. The S&P is down 26 points, and the NASDAQ is off 93 points. Coming up, lots more snow this weekend. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 11:01.
We hope you have the right app on your phone for news. You probably have dozens.
But the KSL News Radio app, well, it makes our live stream super easy.
Plus, our talk shows are right there as podcast for your workday.
That's the app for KSL News Radio.
When words come out of our mouths and everything sounds fine, no one bats an eye. But if things come out a little jumbled or letters sound different than most, there's speech therapy. But did you know that speech therapy is used for more than just stuttering or disfluency? From articulation to expressive and receptive language to a simple act of swallowing that most of us take for granted, speech therapy can do amazing things for you, your health, and of course your sense of self. That's why Summit Speech Therapy is here. Summit Speech Therapy works with people of all ages, from infants and toddlers who have a difficult time feeding or eating, TBI, stroke, or coma patients, to children and adults with speech problems. So much of it is all related, and Summit Speech Therapy can help. Summit works with all insurance companies as well as private pay options, and the experience can be life-changing. With clinics up and down the Wasatch Front, including Murray, with no long waiting for an appointment. For more, visit summitslp.com. That's summitslp.com.
Brought to you by Dominion Energy's ThermWise program, where they put their energy into helping you conserve it. Start saving energy and money today at thermwise.com.
Jeff Kaplan here for my good friends at Advanced Window Products. Jake Weber and Nate Orchard are spreading the holiday cheer with their biggest sale of the year. If the wind whistles through your windows, if you want a fresh new look for your number one investment, your home, call Advanced Window Products and take advantage of this incredible end-of-year sale. Replace all of your windows and frames, and you get $2,500 off. But that's not all. You get a free premium glass upgrade. Insulate your home against the cold with double-pane windows and stylish frames, any style, any color, and they're built custom right here at their headquarters in Salt Lake City for 37 years. They build the windows, they install the windows, and they guarantee them for life. Plus, an additional $2,500 off and a free premium glass upgrade. You can save now, pay later, so take advantage. Call now, Advanced Window Products, 801-850-9100, 801-850-9100, or visit advancedwindowsusa.com.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by Sinclair. Save up to 20 cents with DinoPay. Here's Ricky Meese.
In Salt Lake County, road conditions are improving on some of the freeways, but not all of them. We still have snow coming through and coating I-215's east and parts of the south belt of I-215 in the Cottonwood Heights area over from Fort Union over to Knutson's Corner, and the East Belt seeing speed slightly slower due to those road conditions. Improvements on I-15, but still some slow spots. We have had an accident at 33rd South. It's over to the right, but southbound slowing a little busy from downtown to 33rd, and again from Midvale into Sandy. Northbound I-15 is still a little under the freeway limit from the south interchange to 2100 South. The next spot you need to be aware of is I-15 in Utah County. It's at the bottom end of Provo all the way to Spanish Fork. You could see snow, and it's still on the roadway, and slower speeds both north and southbound in that stretch. Common Spirit, hospitals, clinics, and caregivers all connected to advanced health care in Colorado, Kansas, and Utah. Healthcare with Human Kindness is here. Hello, Human Kindness. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL weather. The snow is getting a little lighter out there, but it'll be back in a couple of hours, so plan some extra time for your evening commute. Our high today will stay below freezing, only getting to 29 degrees. And as we move through the weekend, it will get a little warmer, but it will also get snowier. Right now it's 25 degrees and cloudy. I'm Britt Johnson from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com, we're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories. On KSL News Radio, Dave and Dujanovic have inside sources.
We are just a couple of days out from the Iowa caucus. Happens on Monday. Of course, Nikki Haley hoping for a good showing in Iowa. And this afternoon here in Utah, according to the Deseret News, First Lady Abby Cox, Lieutenant Governor Deidre Henderson will officially endorse Nikki Haley for president.
I have a question for you, Debbie. Do endorsements matter?
Boys usually want to answer that. Do they matter to me? And in some ways they do. I trust that the people, if I know, especially if I know the people, like I know Abby Cox and I know Deidre Henderson. Now, are we going out to lunch together this weekend? No, I don't know them like that, but I know them well enough. They sit in studio with us. I would trust that they're doing research. I would trust them. And so, yeah, in some cases they do. Now, not in all cases.
Yeah.
If I just don't like a candidate, I don't care who endorses that person, or if I don't like how they act towards others or their policy positions, I won't fall in line because somebody's come in and endorsed them.
Endorsements for me, Boyd, I like to kind of tap into your thoughts here. If it were somebody like, if Boyd tells me something, that's one thing. If it's somebody I have no relationship with and they're a political figure, that I don't really care about. Boyd, what do you think?
Yeah, so I think the important part of an endorsement, because I'm not a big endorsement guy in general, I think the most important part of an endorsement is the curiosity. So if it's a governor, if it's a significant figure in the community, and they endorse someone, for me, that immediately says, I wonder why. And then that creates a space for me to explore that candidate and take a look. So I think that's the biggest impact of endorsement is for people who aren't living and breathing and in the middle of this every day like we are. They may say, wow, that's interesting. Maybe I should find out more about that candidate. So I don't think it makes a difference in the end, but it's at the beginning, especially early in a campaign. And we're actually going to have some of the members of the group that is endorsing Nikki Haley on at 2:35 today.
Okay.
So they will be joining us. And so we're going to ask that very question. Why?
So frequently we don't have an opportunity to meet the candidate themselves, but perhaps we do know, or we have a connection to our state leaders who have had an opportunity to interact with those candidates because they are all in this, running in the same political circles, or they're dealing with same government issues. That's where I appreciate an endorsement, or I like the way you put that. It makes you curious to know why they are endorsing. Because, like I said, I do know we've had Lieutenant Governor Henderson in studio with us. We've interacted, and we've had First Lady Abby Cox in studio and interacted with her. So that there feels like there's more of a connection.
That's right. Yeah, and that's the important thing. The big, broad endorsements I don't think really matter a whole lot. To me, it's always about the specific. Are they doing it? Is it a posturing thing? Is it a political thing purely, or is there something underneath that's really driving it? And so that's what is always intriguing to me. And I'll admit, I've had some times where I've thought, okay, no, I don't like that person for that role. I don't want to vote for that person. But then someone will endorse, and I'll say, that makes me curious because that person's smart, or I respect them, or whatever. And so
Like,
then I
why
go and
are they
explore it,
like-
but I still
yeah.
have to do it myself.
Right.
But sometimes that endorsement creates space for the curiosity to happen, which in a campaign, that's what a campaign wants. Just give us a chance. Let us tell you the story. Let us make our case.
But I also look at the 86 endorsements that were made on the state legislature going for Ron DeSantis. You know, we had a whole bunch of lawmakers that were like, straw poll, Ron DeSantis is our guy. Now Nikki Haley's our gal. Well, I guess we'll vote for Donald Trump. You know, I mean, it's this ever-changing thing.
Yeah, and anytime the endorsements are done in mass, it's a bad strategy. It's a really bad strategy because it doesn't create any curiosity. If you have 100 people standing on the steps saying we're all holding hands and going to jump together, that doesn't tell me a whole lot in terms of why. And there's no personal connection to that. It's always about the one, and it's your neighbor, it's someone you trust, it's someone you listen to, and so that to me is the real key of the whole endorsement game. Is one, don't get caught chasing it. Some people just like when people put out a big long list. That does nothing for me. That doesn't make me curious at all. But when someone comes out specifically, then I get curious. Then I want to know. Then I want to know something, and that's the game.
Boyd, what did you make of this comment? And it's been billed as a hot mic moment for Governor Chris Christie, who dropped out of the run for the White House yesterday. And here's what he said about Haley. Supposedly didn't know the mic was on, but it was.
She's going to get smoked, and you and I both know it. She's not up to this.
So she's going to get smoked. You and I both know it. She's not up to this or up for this, depending on what you heard. I mean, do you buy into that?
As a former staffer, the line that I used most with politicians of all stripes and business leaders of all kinds, every mic is an open mic, every device is a recording device, and you should act accordingly. And I will say the really sad thing of that hot mic moment is it distracted from the best speech Chris Christie has ever delivered. Not because who he was talking about, but what he was talking about. And we're actually going to break that down at the top of the show.
Good.
It is an extraordinary speech. And if you don't get distracted by the hot mic moment that took place, it's just that. It's a distraction. There was a great speech there to be had that everybody, Democrat and Republican alike, should actually go listen to. And not listen to it in the context of Donald Trump or Republicans. Just listen to the speech. Listen to the principles of the speech. There's something there for everybody.
The thing about the hot mic moments is why I'm so intrigued is I do like to know what people are really saying behind the scenes. So everyone can make the flowery speech. Everyone can craft the perfect message. But as soon as the mics are off, what are you really saying? And I think that is in part what undermines it so much.
Yeah, it does. It is a credibility issue for sure. And Chris Christie will come back and will say, I mean, he was a great defender of Nikki Haley on the debate stage in some pretty crucial moments when he could have piled on and didn't. Interesting. And so the hot mic moment, again, we don't know who he was talking to specifically. Could have been a donor, could have been somebody who had backed him, so he may have been saving. There's all of those things that can take place in the green room before you walk out into that kind of setting. So, again, I agree. Complete distraction, wildly inappropriate, and undermines credibility. And that's the sad part of our politics today.
Here's one of those moments that you speak of.
He has insulted Nikki Haley's basic intelligence. If you want to disagree on issues, that's fine. And Nikki and I disagree on some issues. But I'll tell you this, I've known her for 12 years. What we don't disagree on is this is a smart, accomplished woman. You should stop insulting her.
Far different on that debate stage than what was caught on that hot mic moment.
Yeah, no question. And again, not knowing the context, always interesting. What's the context? When they said she was going to get smoked, was he referring to the head-to-head debate with Ron DeSantis? Was he saying not going to be able to get enough momentum to get past Donald Trump in Iowa or New Hampshire. There's a whole host of things that could have been at play. Again, every mic is an open mic. Every device is a recording device. Is this thing on?
You have a great show lined up today, Boyd. I'll be listening. Thanks so much. I appreciate it. Always appreciate your insights. Straight ahead, we're going to speak to Utah State Senator Todd Weiler. You probably heard a lot of public service announcements reminding you, if you're a gun owner, to lock up your gun.
Did you know if you leave a gun in your car and it's stolen, it could be used to commit crimes in our community?
Next, State Senator Todd Weiler make a case for prosecuting people who don't lock up their guns in Utah. Stick around for that.
Dave and Dujanovic.
You know KSL is the only news radio for your car, right?
The only news radio for your smart speaker.
Come here in the morning. It's the latest news and traffic. In the afternoon, news and updated weather.
We have you covered at KSL News Radio.
We asked for it.
We need a healthy snowpack to fill our reservoirs.
Now we're getting it.
The plows have gone through here, but it is definitely still slick.
Emergency traffic.
Icy conditions on the road, even with the plows throwing down some salt.
Well over a foot of snow for the Wasatch Front total.
Now that we're finally seeing snow in the valleys, you should know KSL is ready. Get updates with traffic and weather together every 10 minutes on the 9s and emergency traffic at a moment's notice.
We have you covered at KSL News Radio.
Have you seen our ad? Crazy contractor giving away free furnaces? One of our clients' neighbors laughed at her for buying a new central air conditioning system when it's cold outside, until he found out that she got a free furnace for getting it done now, right when she would need it the most. He stopped laughing and bought himself a new AC to get his free furnace too. Just because I'm crazy doesn't mean I'm stupid. Giving away free furnaces is a win for everyone. Purchasing tons of equipment makes our per unit cost go way down. Keeping crews working at full capacity increases their pay and costs per unit goes down. I know, clear as mud. You get a free furnace and everyone wins. The most important day in the life of your furnace is the day it's installed. Get it done right. Call Whipple Service Champions for your free furnace. 801-444-FAST. Whipple Service Champions. 801-444-FAST.
Whipple they come, heating troubles all gone.
For emergencies, when you call today, we come today.
If you're trying to decide which gutter protection to put on your home, don't just ask how they'll handle leaves. Ask how they'll handle ice. Tim Jr. here from RGS Exteriors, and that's right, ice. See, plenty of gutter guards are good at keeping out leaves, but most are made with flimsy materials that can bend, buckle, and break under the weight of too much ice. Kind of a big problem in an icy state like Utah, right? At RGS Exteriors, our exclusive gutter protection systems are built Utah tough. They're made with premium strength materials that hold up to 1,200 pounds of ice per square foot. Simply put, they're not going to budge. Our gutter guards are also certified to handle hurricane-level winds and rain. Mother Nature can't damage them. Guaranteed. Utah Tough Products. That's the RGS way. For a free estimate, call 801-280-3110 or visit rgsexteriors.com. That's rgsexteriors.com or 801-280-3110.
It is cold outside, and that's no surprise because it's winter. But for me, it's been even colder than usual because I've shed over 50 pounds, yes, 50 pounds of fat weight since September following the program designed for me personally at Soda Weight Loss. Yes, I made it through the holidays losing weight, not gaining it, and as a result, now I gotta wear a jacket all the time because I'm so cold. But it's so fun to take off the jacket and be skinny. And just in time to help you keep your New Year's resolution, I've got an amazing opportunity to tell you about. You could win a full year of Soda's amazing program and a $2,000 wardrobe makeover, and you'll need it, in Soda's Shape Up Showdown. To enter, all you have to do is send an email to shapeup@sodaweightloss.com. That's shapeup@sotaweightloss.com. That's it. So don't wait anymore. Make 2024 the year you change your life for the better with Soda Weight Loss. Say it with me.
State of the art.
Getting help with plumbing repairs is easier than you think. All you have to do is call Any Hour Services or schedule an appointment at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
At Grainger, we're for the ones who specialize in saving the day and for the ones who've mastered the art of keeping business moving. We offer industrial-grade supplies for every industry, with same-day pickup and next-day delivery on most orders, all backed by real people ready to help. So you can get the right answers and products right when you need them. Call quickgranger.com or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done. At Grainger, we're for the ones who specialize in saving the day and for the ones who've mastered the art of keeping business moving. We offer industrial-grade supplies for every industry, with same-day pickup and next-day delivery on most orders, all backed by real people ready to help. So you can get the right answers and products right when you need them. Call quickgranger.com or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
With the 3 things you need to know this hour, I'm Britt Johnson. First, a new law in Ogden prohibits people from parking on the road when there's 1 or more inches of snow or ice on the street. Second, multiple townhomes in Ogden were evacuated last night after high levels of carbon monoxide were discovered. Third, Hertz says it's selling off about 1/3 of its electric vehicle fleet, citing weak demand and high repair costs. Right now it's 25 degrees and partly sunny in Salt Lake City. Back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Well, you don't have to hear the public service announcement.
Did you know if you leave a gun in your car and it's stolen, it could be used to commit crimes in our community?
Knowing that, like, locking up your gun, makes communities safer. In a moment, we're going to speak live with State Senator Todd Weiler, who's sponsoring a proposal on Capitol Hill for this upcoming legislative session, who's going to make a case for us for prosecuting people who don't lock up their guns.
I bought a gun safe for somebody I knew that didn't lock up their gun. It's because it concerned me so much.
You're generous for a lot of reasons to do that. First of all, you bought it for somebody else, and second, how many people in the community did you protect? You'll never know.
Well, I think
you'll never know.
Just generally speaking, securing your gun, protecting it, making sure you're handling it properly, all these things are, I think, kind of indisputable. Even gun owners, the most hardcore gun owners, are the most responsible gun owners. So I absolutely support protecting your weapons, locking your guns up, having protections. Do I want there to be severe punishments if you don't? No.
Todd Weiler, State Senator. Talk to us about what your proposal would do if it gets passed, and then and maybe you can start by reacting to what Dave just said.
Well, I think that reasonable minds can differ. I'm a strong advocate of the Second Amendment, but I also think the Second Amendment is under attack, with public shootings, mass shootings, school shootings. And I think that if we want to preserve our gun rights in the long run, we need legislatures to step up and take some of these proactive measures. When a kid brings a gun to school, guess where they usually get it from, Debbie?
Oh, the nightstand. Right?
Yeah, the nightstand, or this bill was brought to me by
their
a
buddy
parent
stole
who
it. Yeah,
is very responsible with his guns, and his son was at a friend's house, and they opened a drawer looking for some batteries for the game console, and one of the neighbor's parents had left a gun just in the kitchen drawer, and when the neighbor's child, the parent's child saw it, they immediately grabbed for that gun, and the neighbor boy, my constituent's boy, told him stop and shut the drawer and leaned against it and said, call your parents and tell them what's happened. And so, people are susceptible to mistakes, but we prosecute people for mistakes all the time. If you accidentally drink and drive, that's a mistake, but you get prosecuted for it. And so I do think, this is an effort on my part, and I hope the legislature, and this bill will probably be refined in the process, to tell parents, if you have guns in the home, that's great. But you have to take steps to secure them, and if you don't, there may be consequences.
When you say secure your weapon, what do you mean, like specifically?
Well, I think, Dave, as a lawyer myself, I work more in the civil arena, but prosecutors and police and juries and judges, they have all kinds of discretion that they can give. So I think if I think if a parent showed that they did take reasonable steps, I doubt that they'd be prosecuted. But if they were prosecuted, they would have those defenses. But prosecutors have a great deal of discretion on who they decide to actually file charges against and who they don't. But right now, this is not a tool that's in the toolbox.
One of the things that I've heard, though, is say you have a gun at your home, you want to use it to protect your family. That's why you have it. Having it locked up, having the ammunition separated from the gun, if something happens and you need to get to that gun quickly and you're having to open up several different, lock boxes or, remove all these safety things, if you're trying to use it for the purpose it is intended, then what are we doing?
Well, I think that's a good point. I think that my biggest concern is where is that gun and where is the ammunition when the parents are not home or when the parents are not attentive to it. So, again, I think your comment, I like the first part of your comment that, most gun owners and most gun advocates are very, very responsible, and we're just trying to incentivize that responsibility. You raise a good point. I think most people, that have, fear or paranoia of that, it's more like, well, what if someone breaks in at 2 a.m. in the morning? Hopefully the parents at home at 2 a.m. But, again, I'm not saying that this is a silver bullet magic solution, no pun intended, that's going to solve every problem. But we have too many teen suicides and too many shootings in our country that are a result of a parent negligently allowing a child to access their firearms.
Well, and how many times have we done, stories, and, I've certainly covered stories where guns are stolen from cars, when somebody smashes and grabs inside the car and they're just looking for change, and lo and behold, they find somebody's gun in the glove box that wasn't locked, or it's under a seat. This would require gun owners to also secure their weapon in a locked area of the car too, right? Am I right on that?
I would assume so. I mean, if their children have access to the car, obviously, yes, that's another place they could get it. And by the way, if you're going to have a concealed weapon in a car, it's my understanding you would have to have a concealed weapons permit. Actually, we may have changed that 2 years ago, but yeah, that's always an issue. I know if you get pulled over, I see, a lot of people giving advice that you should immediately notify the officer that there is a gun in the vehicle and things like that. That can be dicey situations.
So Todd, I just want to.
And of course, we have a lot of people pointing guns at people on the roads now in Utah, which is unfortunate as well.
So, Senator Weiler, just in your 30-second elevator pitch about what your proposal would do, how you see it working, practically speaking, if it passes.
I think it would set a standard telling parents, if you're going to have a gun with children, that you're expected to take reasonable efforts to make sure those kids are not taking the gun and using it inappropriately.
And that reasonable effort would not include leaving it in a junk drawer or, the container drawer in your kitchen.
Yeah, I think we expect the same thing with parents who have opioids and other prescriptive medications. I could give other examples, but yeah, it's part of being an adult.
Senator Todd Weiler, thank you for joining us. We'll follow this and see if it grows some legs.
Did you feel a little more at ease about this after we talked to Senator Weiler?
I 100% agree with both sides. It sounds like a very politically correct answer to say, oh, I see both sides of it. But genuinely, I look at these things and I understand both sides very well. I think we do need to be responsible for the guns we own and how we care for them, and it makes sure they're in as a safe a situation as possible. I also see it as a gun has a purpose. And if I'm using it to defend my family, I need to have access to that weapon.
The way I understood this is, if you're sleeping with the gun in your nightstand drawer next to you, mom or dad, at 2 o'clock in the morning, if somebody breaks in, you're going to have access to that. It doesn't have to be locked up. Where this would apply is if mom and dad are gone for the day at work, son comes home and has easy access to a gun that's left in that same nightstand with nobody, no adult in the room. So I would think that this would be applied, reasonably. Like, oh, a parent was home, didn't realize the child had snuck in the room while they were sleeping, versus parents not home, and every single day that gun is unlocked and then left on the kitchen counter, and the neighbor kid comes over and takes it. That's what I think that this is trying to send a message to parents who are gun owners and others who are gun owners who have kids around them. Hey, you got to take responsibility for keeping that gun out of the hands of a child.
And although in past generations where guns were far more ubiquitous, I think there was more gun safety, more gun knowledge. We don't quite have that anymore.
With kids, especially.
Yeah, especially. Yeah. It's just they're not as common. There's not as many hunters. There's
one training class they take, and then do they go back to another training class? It's just we don't teach it in schools that I know of either.
Nope. There used to be gun clubs and rifle clubs in high schools. Payson High School used to have like an excellent. It was a rifle club. You'd bring the rifle to school. I mean, how wild is that? That concept would never happen now.
Straight ahead, we've got another proposal on Capitol Hill that we're keeping an eye on for the 2024 session, which starts on Tuesday. Teacher tax credit. A tax credit for teachers to help cover expenses that, when they have to pay for supplies and food and hygiene products for kids in their classroom. We're going to speak to the president of the Utah Education Association about what teachers see as needs in the classroom that, the normal funds, the usual funds just don't cover.
It's 11:31 at KSL News Radio. I'm Britt Johnson. KSL's top story this hour. Road crews are hard at work clearing roads again today. Spokesperson for the Utah Department of Transportation, John Gleason, told Dave and Dujanovic despite all the mitigation work they do, the snow is still such a challenge.
We knew we were going to be facing snow rates of an inch per hour or even more in some cases, and it just hit at exactly the wrong or the right time, depending how you look at it. It was just during the evening commute, and boy, it was stalled out.
He adds that once the traffic stalls out, so do the snowplows. Cottonwood High School was on lockdown last night after school was out, but during after-school activities. A custodian says they saw a male climb onto the roof with what looked like a rifle. Murray police searched the grounds and found a teenager hiding under several blankets and covered in snow. He had a toy rubber band rifle with him. Police think he left home after a disagreement. He was taken back home with no reported injuries. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. Hundreds of flights have been canceled since a door plug flew off an Alaskan Airlines 737 MAX 9 in flight last week. Now a new development from the FAA today, launching an investigation. ABC's Alex Stone has details.
The FAA has sent Boeing a letter notifying the company an investigation has been launched to determine if Boeing failed to ensure its products conform to approved design and if they were in a condition for safe operation and compliance with FAA regulations. The FAA is telling Boeing it must comply with high safety standards are legally accountable to meet. In a strongly worded statement, the FAA saying, quote, "This incident should have never happened and cannot happen again." Alex Stone, ABC News.
Your money at this moment, the Dow in the red, 115 points. The S&P is down 19 points. The NASDAQ is down 57 points. Coming up, it just keeps coming. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 11:33.
It's a priority for us at this station to bring you all sides of a story and to talk about the news fairly, completely.
Get all the facts and be really aware. Utah's Morning News with us, Tim and Amanda.
Weekday mornings 5 to 9 on KSL News Radio.
For years, you've heard me talking about soft water. And if you're not quite sure how soft water works, let me just tell you a little bit of what I do know. Utah has some of the hardest water in the entire country. That's what naturally comes into your home. And unless you have a water softener, then you will just continue to have that hard water going through all of your pipes. So a water softener will soften the water and send it into your water heater, and then you can use that soft water throughout your house. So when anything you use warm water for, so your laundry, dishes, showers, all of that stuff uses soft water, and you get the benefits of soft water. So when I take a shower, take a bath, it's great for your skin. You can feel the difference. It's easy on your clothes. You don't have the hard water buildup stains. You'll have those hard water spots on your dishes. Yeah, those things go away. I've spent a ton of money on expensive chemicals to get rid of those little hard water spots on my dishes. No, soft water was the key. Crystal clear, beautiful dishes from here on out. So if you're interested in getting soft water into your home, the guys I trust, Connecticut. They're an authorized Connecticut dealer, obviously. 801-576-8600. That's 801-576-8600. Or check them out online, softwaterutah.com.
Give the star in your life the brightest gift in the world. Name a star after them. This is Rocky Moselle with International Star Registry. For $59 and a call to 800-282-3333 or visit starregistry.com, you can name a star for birthdays, weddings, or even memorials. Over 45 years, we have named millions of stars for celebrities and individuals from around the world. The star you name will be recorded in book form in the U.S. Copyright Office. Visit starregistry.com or call 800-282-3333.
My doctor told me my blood pressure is borderline. I figured I could worry about it or do something about it. So I took control with Garlic Healthy Blood Pressure Formula. It works safely and naturally to help maintain healthy blood pressure with a custom blend of garlic, vitamins, and minerals. And it's odor-free. I'm taking charge with Garlic Healthy Blood Pressure Formula.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. The term natural references only the garlic in the product. Use as directed.
Everybody knows that your credit history can have a huge impact on your life, Amanda, especially when you're just starting out as an adult.
That's why Utah Community Credit Union, UCCU's new Credit Builder Loan is such a great idea. It's a way to build or to rebuild your credit.
All right, so let's talk about how it works. With Credit Builder, UCCU will open an account in your name and then provide that account with a fixed amount of funds along with a small automatic monthly payment. And as your automatic payments are made over time, of course, your credit builds, proving you're a responsible borrower and raising your credit score.
And that credit score is just so important because it determines the interest rates you'll get, higher credit limits, better loan terms because of your credit score.
And by the way, if you have kids in high school, open a Credit Builder loan in their name, and that way they're going to graduate from high school with a good credit score of their own.
It's called the Credit Builder Loan from Utah Community Credit Union, UCCU.
Just call or text UCCU or stop by any branch and start building your credit today.
UCCU, you're going to love where you bank.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by Sinclair. Save up to 20 cents with Dino Pay. Here's Ricky Meese.
Valley Freeway road conditions are improving, but they are still wet and even slushy in many spots. You still need to control your speeds. Right now, we still have one remaining accident. This is in the Cottonwood Heights Holiday area, eastbound I-215 South Belt. It's in between 13th East and about 20th East. Those vehicles are out of traffic on the shoulder. Restrictions in place, of course, for Big and Little Cottonwood, and approved traction devices are required for all vehicles. And then it does look like the snow has eased and speeds are improving on north and southbound I-15 from Orem to Springville in Utah County. But Highway 189, snow-packed and covered in Provo Canyon. Don't miss the amazing Utah Auto Expo, January 12th through 15th at the Mountain America Exposition Center. See the newest cars, trucks, electric vehicles, all in a non-selling environment. AutoExpoUtah.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL weather, we're getting a slight break from the snow, especially in the valleys. If you're in the mountains, probably not much of a break, but we do need to start gearing up for more this afternoon and evening, especially during the evening commute. So be alert out there on the roads. Right now it's 30 degrees and partly cloudy. I'm Britt Johnson from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio. Eye on the Hill 2023. Special coverage with Dave and Dujanovic.
We're following up on a story that we've been tracking all week long as we walk up to the legislative session, and we're going to speak in a moment to the Utah Education Association, the president of the UEA. Teachers right now get $175 a year to buy rewards, maybe a few supplies for their students. And when we broke it down, it's about $5 a week for the school year.
True.
$5 a week. When the legislature starts this Tuesday, there's a Utah lawmaker who is proposing a $500 tax credit for out-of-pocket expenses for the classroom.
I know teachers will absolutely love this because a lot of them do. They take money out of their own paycheck. They go buy it because they love the kids. They want to provide them the best experiences possible. I totally get why they do it. It makes a lot of sense. My biggest concern, though, is are we absolving the schools from providing all the necessary resources to teachers? My hope would be if a teacher wants to do something, if they want to buy something, that the principal would have the freedom to give them some discretionary spending and say, yes, go buy that game, go buy that book, go buy those treats.
And it's not just games and treats. It is that, Dave. It can be. But it's also written into this proposal is maybe they need a piece of equipment or they need some software. Speech pathologists who are in our schools helping kids refine their speaking skills, their speech. Often will use like word games that kids really enjoy and reward them with maybe some iPad time, with another game that helps enhance their speaking abilities. Hygiene products are on this list. When I think of hygiene products, I think of girls who occasionally need a hygiene product.
Yeah.
Because they're experiencing that moment of the month. Maybe a boy in the class needs some deodorant and his parents haven't been able to afford it. Food is on this list as well. And Renee Pinkney, president of the Utah Education Association, when I see words like hygiene products and food on this list that qualifies for a teacher to get a $500 tax credit, my heart just breaks that this is where some kids are at in school. And I'm so thankful that there's teachers there to recognize this.
Yes, and thank you very much for having me. We know that our students' needs have increased, especially following a global pandemic. And, most of us believe that every child, no matter their color, their background, their zip code, that they have a right to learn in a safe, supportive, well-resourced classroom where they're provided the support and resources necessary to learn and thrive. And we also know that many of our educators are paying out of their own pockets to make sure this happens. And an income tax credit doesn't get to the root of the problem.
What is the root of the problem?
The root of the problem is that an income tax credit will benefit a few, in this case educators, in both public and private schools, at the expense of overall public education funding, because this is coming out of the income tax revenue, or it's a credit, so it's decreasing that revenue. And we know that educators are already experiencing a teacher pay penalty, and when they're spending their own money on supplies, that only adds to that penalty. And, when we think about a tax credit, it isn't a full refund. So we do know that educators are going out and they are buying food. They are buying deodorant. They are contributing items to food pantries that schools have had for years. And there are other solutions that will make sure our public education students have the supplies they need.
Renee Pinkney is president of the Utah Education Association. We have her live on the line just a few days out from the start of the legislative session. And one Utah lawmaker is proposing a $500 tax credit for teachers. When they file their taxes, they can apply for this credit for supplies that they have to buy during the school year. Are you suggesting that instead of a tax credit, you'd rather see teachers get a raise?
Well, it would be with the teacher pay penalty, meaning that there is a gap between a teacher's weekly wages and other college-educated professionals, and it has quadrupled since 1996, so it's at 26% now, a 26% gap. We would like to see competitive compensation packages, and we are incredibly grateful for the increase in public education funding, but it just hasn't gotten us to the place to where we still have competitive compensation packages for our professional educators. But we also need to have fully funded schools based on the needs of our kids, and the needs have grown. And I don't know of any other profession where people go out and spend their own money in order to do their jobs, and in this case, support kids. And we want all of our students to be successful. We want them all to thrive. We want them all to be healthy and happy. And we can do that if there's a recognition of the needs and if we have a fully funded public education system.
Renee Pinkney, thank you for joining us from the UEA.
Any thoughts?
Well, I think we're almost having two different conversations. She was talking about teacher compensation, and we're trying to figure out, specifically this $175 that the teachers can currently use for their classrooms to help supplement. And I want to know, does that fall on the teacher? Because the teacher's always going to need a little something, a little enticement, something that will improve the experience. And I don't want to say, hey, we'll give teachers $1,000 raise. Now you have $1,000 to spend on your classroom. That's not going to happen.
Track that.
No, and it won't happen. It'll just get gobbled up in the family budget. So we need, I think we're talking about separate things. I want to say, okay, for the teachers out there that are trying to customize or enhance their classroom, what resources do they need? Is it a monthly stipend? Is it a yearly stipend? Is it a chunk of money that is doled out by the principal? That, I think, is the specific question.
Earlier this week, we told you about these newer Code Blue alerts in Utah. Several counties, I think it was 20 to 29 counties, were in a Code Blue alert because of how cold it is, particularly overnight across Utah. Next, Salt Lake County Mayor Jenny Wilson joining the show. We'll ask her, is Salt Lake County in Code Blue, and how is this new system working to protect the homeless?
Dave and Dujanovic.
Dave and Debbie go out of their way to make sure you hear all sides of a story.
They're working the phones to get several viewpoints on for you.
Hi, it's Tim and Amanda. We get you the full story, too.
We have you covered on KSL News Radio.
If you've ever set New Year's resolutions before, you know how difficult it is to follow through because you have to wait to see the results. What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and in honor of your New Year, New You resolutions, Any Hour Services is having our New Year, New System sale. From now until the end of February, Any Hour Services will give you $2,024 off a new furnace and air conditioner, and you don't have to wait to save the money. You get $2,024 off at the time of purchase. The only thing you have to do to qualify for our New Year, New System sale is call Any Hour Services and schedule a free estimate. When you call, there's no obligation to buy. Just schedule a time to meet that works best for you. Let me say that again. From now until the end of February, when you have Any Hour Services install a new furnace and air conditioner, we'll give you $2,024 off. Call Any Hour Services right now and schedule a free estimate. 801-443-7400. You can Google Any Hour Services. You can even schedule online at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
If you're on the journey of building your dream home, remodeling, or just want to brighten up some rooms, let the Blind Man be your tour guide into the possibilities 2024 has to offer. Window coverings balance functionality and aesthetics by managing light and privacy effortlessly. Whether you seek a captivating design element, enhanced privacy, light-blocking solutions, or an infusion of natural light, the Blind Man's consultants are here to navigate you through the latest trends, tailoring them to complement your unique style. Motorized and automated roller shades have emerged as the preferred choice in 2024. This is driven by features such as the convenience they provide for hard-to-reach windows, providing safety for both children and pets, and contributing to energy efficiency. The Blind Man's experts would love to help you explore the options along your journey. Visit theblindman.com today to set up a free in-home consultation. Theblindman.com.
From Ogden to St. George, Utah's premier window covering provider, The Blind Man.
This is Derek Miller speaking on business. For over 30 years, Best Friends Animal Society has been working to save the lives of cats and dogs all across America and giving pets second chances and happy homes. CEO Julie Castle joins us with more.
For more than 150 years in America, sheltered dogs and cats have been killed for simply not having a safe place to call home. But it doesn't have to be this way. Since its founding in 1984, Best Friends Animal Society has worked with shelters, rescues, and communities all over the country to reduce the killing from 17 million to 378,000 a year. This has been done through collaboration between public and private agencies, as well as innovative programming that helps the most at-risk dogs and cats. Best Friends is dedicated to making America a no-kill country by 2025. And we are so close to reaching this milestone. Every animal lover can help by fostering, adopting, donating, volunteering, or simply sharing about homeless pets in your community on social media. By working together, we will save them all. To learn more about how to save lives in your community, visit bestfriends.org.
Many shelters across the country are short-staffed and well over capacity, but you can make a difference. Help save the lives of animals across the country by adopting from a local shelter or rescue organization. I'm Derek Miller with the Salt Lake Chamber, speaking on business.
Jeff Kaplan.
I'm blessed that KSL has given me the freedom to talk about whatever I want. Literally, it is my minute of news. It might be something bizarre that you didn't know. Sometimes it's pegged to what's happening that very day.
Jeff Kaplan's Afternoon News, 3 to 7 on KSL News Radio.
With the 3 things you need to know this hour, I'm Britt Johnson. First, UDOT is struggling to keep the roads plowed as the snow continues to come down, and slow traffic means slower plows. Second, Cottonwood High School was on lockdown last night after a custodian says they saw a male climb onto the roof with what looked like a rifle. Third, the FAA today launching an investigation on the Boeing 737 MAX 9 after a door plug came off the plane last week. Right now, it's 30 degrees and partly cloudy in Salt Lake City. Back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic.
So it looks like from the state health department's website that we're still in code blue, which kind of came out of the blue, I think, in a lot of people because they're like, what is this code blue alert that we're in? Well, the state finally, after years of just I think you described it really well the other day, Dave, and I'm going to paraphrase. It's kind of like willy-nilly. That sounds like a word. That
sounds like a way I would describe something.
Well, it was willy-nilly. Like we just when we hit 15 degrees now, certain standards kick in, and it means that homeless shelters are like automatically allowed to expand by 35%. They don't have to go through they don't have to run down to City Hall and start looking for the mayor to sign off on a new form to expand their capacity. They just do it. And then they can also, churches can immediately convert to shelters. City buildings, if, for example, there's maybe not a church location or somebody's not available to open the doors at the church down the street, City Hall can fling open its doors to those who are experiencing homelessness in the community. It really is an all-hands-on-deck, let's save people from the elements. And it has been so cold this week.
Homelessness is a serious issue. No one has solved it. No one knows exactly what to do. When it's 15 degrees outside, that's not the time to figure things out. That's not
what we were doing.
That is It is not a time to play hardball. It's not a time to make political moves. When it is 15 degrees, when it is freezing and lives are at stake, we care for those lives. We'll address the bigger questions at another time. It's not right now. When you go outside and it is bitterly cold, the wind is blowing, and it is dangerous. You'd catch frostbite in a matter of minutes. that is not the time to play hardball. And I think that's why I appreciate Code Blue. It says, listen, when things are awful and terrible and miserable, let's take care of people, then we'll do the other stuff.
And it's going to continue to stay cold over the next several days. But I think when we spoke to the lawmaker earlier this week who really pushed this, Representative Steve Elison, he said the reason he came up with it was from an intern. She suggested it, a legislative intern who had worked on Capitol Hill with him and said she'd have been homeless. And there needed to be some sort of cohesiveness and somewhere for folks to turn who are living or camping on our streets when the shelters are at capacity. Salt Lake County Mayor Jenny Wilson live on the line with us right now. Good morning, Mayor.
Good morning. Great to be on with you.
We're in for another cold wave ahead, probably for the next few weeks on and off. How is this new Code Blue alert working for the county?
Well, when temperatures hit 15 degrees, there are additional beds throughout the system. And we are educating people through our partners and through various means to let people know that there's a place for them to stay. So they'll move in the evening and then transported back to some providers that can support them during the day. So it's working great.
How well is this being received, and are people aware that about this Code Blue and some of the rights that they have?
I think the word has gotten out. I volunteered this morning at one of the centers that actually houses 50 people, and it went incredibly well. They had a full house here, and the individuals asked as they were leaving, a few of them, if we would be open again tonight, and indeed we will be. And they're excited and thrilled, and they can rest. They can put their head down on a pillow and get the rest they need in the evening. And then, sadly, we do have homeless people who are working. I'd love to live in a community where if you have a job, you've got a home and a place to sleep at night, but that isn't always the case. So people are going off and doing what they need to do during the day, the service provider supporting during the day, and then they're coming back to sleep.
The way you explained it, it sounded they're working, but they still can't afford a place to live, and so even though they're working, they're still experiencing homelessness.
Yeah, I mean that's not true of all of the people, but that is true of many people. Yeah, we have people in our shelters, in our resource centers rather, that are leaving to jobs during the day, and we certainly see that with our overflow as well.
Mayor, what about those who are on the streets, who are camping, who, even though it is 15 degrees or 10 degrees, they still demand to be on the streets? It looks to me like from this Code Blue law now that law enforcement or government agencies can't swoop in and start seizing their supplies or anything like that. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think it's a recognition that we live in a community where when temperatures drop, we do things differently. What we care most about in these cold temperatures is keeping people alive. So the system has evolved to accommodate that. And that means that some of the policies that would apply when the weather's warmer don't in these cold times.
Is that common? Or is that a standard practice that even in these cold times, even before Code Blue, that stuff would be confiscated or taken?
Well, our health department, our Salt Lake County Health Department, works with communities when camps develop that become unruly, where sanitation and community impact goes beyond what's reasonable. So cities have their own policies and rules around where you can and can't camp. And, it's not illegal to be homeless. It's the camping that can create some issues. So you would see different procedures and policies within our various cities, but Salt Lake County Health Department is working to make sure that camps don't grow to a point where health is an issue.
Salt Lake County Mayor Jenny Wilson, thanks for taking time out of your day today to join us on the line about the code blue alert. You made a point, Dave, earlier that this stays in effect not just for the day that it is downright cold. And by the way, that includes the wind chill factor too. So if it says 24 degrees, but the wind is whipping up at 70 miles an hour and it feels like it's 5 degrees out, it includes that. But I thought you brought up a good point about it's just not that day alone.
And that's important because oftentimes when you pack up and you have to move, then, it's not quite as easy to reestablish yourself. So, yeah, right now we're in code blue. So there are a lot more resources available.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.